But without further ado, we could get this started with
Hello, new fuckers. I'm Brendan. Hello.
yeah, a lot of them are probably from Exertus's channel because I've been doing a lot of shows with him. Exertus, shout out to Exertus, great dude. Latter Day Chad to the max. Hope
Chad.
yeah. I hope you get to talk to Andreas one day. He's a really cool dude. But I think we could start this off with something fun, something a little different. We're gonna do a little mini single card tarot pull.
Oh no.
So, Brendan, how about you set the intention?
Oh shit.
Ask a question or something. Like any concerns, anything you're obsessed with that's going on.
You know, I always hated tarot. I'm just gonna let everyone know. I've always not. I'm interested in tarot, but every time I've gotten a tarot reading, it's always been, to my ego at least, something I did not want to hear. Or it's never been like, oh, everything's gonna work out. You're gonna get the girl, and everything's gonna be great. It's always like, yeah, you're gonna learn to love yourself. I'm like, fuck that shit.
Well,
Is she
it's true.
coming back or not? You know, it was
Okay,
like some
fine.
bullshit ego shit.
Let's
you know?
try this. Give me present something that I could pull a tarot card on that doesn't have anything to do with you specifically, but has more to do with like the collective.
No, I want to do. Oh,
Are you really that self-centered where you can't like you know?
yeah. No. Okay, so you mean like
Politics, culture,
humanity?
dating, whatever. Gender, fucking spirituality, religion, God. Pick something.
We're in Kali Yuga, the spiritual state of the world
Right?
coming up.
The cycle, yeah. So okay. So do you have any anything you want to know about that? Any insights you want to glean from the collective subconscious?
Is it going to lean more towards materialism, or is it going to become a more compassionate, enlightened society?
Okay, so I'm now calm. I'm identifying less with Christopher and more with my higher self, which is within all of us. We're all connected to the same source, blah, blah, blah. So is the next cycle going to be up within the whole metaphysical cycle of, what do they call it? The whole Kali Yuga is just one phase of what?
It's like an age.
What do they call the whole wheel or the whole meta?
I actually don't know.
All right. Well, is this new age of our consciousness and collective human consciousness going to be defined more by materialism or would you say spirituality?
Yeah, like compassion,
All
spirituality.
right. So let's see what I pull up. First card that comes up is we got the Page of Pentacles in the reverse position. I know what Pentacles supposedly stands for. I think it's got to do with wealth. But if we want to go specifically into what that actual specific card means, there's the Queen, there's the King, and the Page of Pentacles. Have an effect. Be practical. Be prosperous. Be trusting / trustworthy. Let's see. So the reading is... The description of the card is, the Page of Pentacles is a messenger bringing you opportunities for prosperity. He delivers real chances to experience wealth, abundance, security, and solid achievement. The wonders of the Pentacles suit. In your readings, this page suggests that an opening may appear that promises enrichment, comfort, trust, or the chance to make your dreams real. When you see such a chance, act on it. The Page of Pentacles can also stand for a child or a young at heart adult you whose interactions with you involve stability, trust, commitment, safety, and material needs. Sometimes the Page of Pentacles implies that your entire situation is suffused with the spirit of physical enjoyment. At each time, feel free to have fun with your body, skills, and possessions in a lighthearted way. Revel in the delights of being alive on the earth at this time. But it came up reversed. So it's an early phase thing, right? Because we just reached the cycle. You may have a chance to achieve results. An opportunity to make plans may arise. The time to act is approaching. Someone may make an impact. As for practical, you may be called on to make something work. Someone may need to become more practical. A time to be realistic is approaching. An opportunity to use common sense may come up. You may have a chance to get what you need. An opportunity to be prosperous may arise. A time to grow and expand may come up. Someone may see an opening for greater security. An opportunity to be dependable may arise. Someone may show himself as trustworthy. You may have a chance to keep your word. A time for commitments may present itself. All right, cool. So that was nice. So keep that in mind, folks. The Page of Pentacles seems to have a lot to do with opportunities, and acting on those opportunities for prosperity and abundance and good shit. So from that pull, I'm getting, as far as the Kali Yuga goes, since it's at the early phase, all these things are arising. Opportunities to prove our commitment, our trustworthiness, our prosperity, and basically being reliable, solid. If you're a dude, like being a solid dude. I'm guessing if you're a chick, just be like honest with yourself, I guess, so that you don't like fuck yourself by being too distracted when good opportunities come up. That's what I got out of the reading anyway. In regards to, because the whole cycle thing affects all of us, right? The age of the Kali Yuga, and the Kali Yuga is a dark age, correct? It's like a bad time.
It's an opportunity to become enlightened, and this is all Hinduism, like Krishna consciousness, kind
Vedic.
of shit. But it's also like a shitty, time. Like everything becomes very materialistic and very crude.
Well, from the reading that I got, it seems like yes, that would be true, right? However, because if you look at the world now, it's kind of like what it's like looking like. But I want to propose a different take on it. You kind of have to turn the soil for things to take root and grow. Things have to be, because if things aren't bad, if things don't get dark, you don't really have any room for light to sprout, right? Creation comes out of destruction, light comes out of darkness, order comes out of chaos, and vice versa. Which is why it's a cycle and not like a static point of just all good or all bad. That's not how it works. What is true is that it's always going to keep moving. So that's cool. That was a cool reading. Yeah, I've been getting more into tarot, like just learning how to read. I mean, because a lot of people like ridicule stuff like tarot and astrology, but to me, I look at it as things that tap into the collective subconscious, right? That's important because a lot of theoretical physics is coming to this point where like they're starting to agree with like spiritualists and mystics and ancient spiritual traditions that are saying like, oh yeah, the world isn't actually like as real as we're made to believe it is. It's not what we think it is. Like the way we look at it is incomplete.
Well, Kali Yuga is supposed to be a little bit tough. Just like it's like, because they explain in like Buddhism and Hinduism that there are heavenly planets and hellish planets, and that here is the best chance to be able to devote your life to God or to spirituality. It's where in the hellish planets, there's too much suffering to turn your mind to that, and in the heavenly planets, it's just too good for you to turn your mind to God. So where this is a life where you have both an equal amount of good and bad, good and evil, that to where you will suffer enough to be able to be like, what's the point of this? To where on the hellish planets, you're suffering so much where you're just like, fuck, the whole time. And in heavenly planets, it's just too fucking like, la 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 la, everything's great, to where you don't need to become spiritual.
Yeah.
According to like Hindu or Buddhist philosophy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Like Kali Yuga, there's a lot of strife and stuff, but it's enough to make somebody go like, there must be something more to this shit, and it's not painful enough to them to like turn a blind eye to spirituality, So
okay,
it's like the perfect mix.
So let's for a second take the spirituality out of the mix and just look at regular childhood and human development. Now, if we look at a person growing up, like from birth, right? You look at it as like, okay, let me ask you a question. Look at, the concept of trauma, right?
Yeah.
What would a person who never experienced a single moment of trauma even look like to you?
I don't know.
They don't fucking exist. There's no such thing.
The way I was thinking about it was being born. Pretty fucking traumatic.
Yeah. So everyone already
You went from either comfort or nothingness to temperature and fucking pressure and gravity all hitting you at once. You're in this fucking body that's being confined by gravity that's pushing on it at all fucking fronts, and you have fucking temperature, hot or cold, and it's just you're feeling all this shit that's probably uncomfortable. Have you ever been naked and wet in a room?
Yes.
Even if it wasn't cold? You're naked and wet in a room, out of nowhere, screaming.
Yes, you're describing what we can already imagine. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
that's trauma.
So yeah, of course, that is traumatic. Now, what I ask you is this: knowing that, can we not conclude that trauma is natural? It's a natural part of human development.
Yeah.
And can we also conclude that too much trauma can be bad?
Yeah.
Okay. So what about the cases where there's people that literally grew up with not enough trauma? You know, like maybe they had it too easy in life, and then by the time they were adults and their parents passed away, so they weren't able to help them. Suddenly they have no tools to deal with adversity, conflict, friction of everyday living. Because life isn't just perfect all the time, isn't easy every day, right? The only way to be equipped with the right tools to defend yourself or to correct yourself, or you have to go through a certain amount of trauma, right?
Yeah, but
no buts. You said yeah. Okay, so I'm not done. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So that being said, how do we know what the right amount of trauma is for a person? Because clearly you need some, but too much will destroy you. So then, but not enough will also destroy you. So how much is just enough?
I have no idea.
And even if we did know that number, how do we even go about like inducing that on people?
But everyone is able to kind of process a different type or amount of trauma than anyone else. You know, something that might break somebody might make somebody else stronger.
No, I think
it might make somebody.
No.
You can deal with things a different way. You can deal with trauma.
No. I think that's very simple. I think that's a little too reductive. I think a slightly more accurate way to put it would be like, you could have one person, right, who could deal with some shit, and another person who can't, and you could just say, oh, it's because they're different, but it's not true. There is always causality. You just have to look deeper. What if, say, person A went through specific traumas, like a specific series of traumas in a very specific order at very specific points in their lives, so that when they did finally come across that thing, they were able to deal with it like nothing.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get.
What if there was
not the same thing, but it's very fucking similar?
What if there was? But what if there was just one little thing, like they scraped their knee at like 6 instead of 8, or they scraped their knee at 8 instead of 6, and suddenly that changed the whole fucking like order of like how they build up.
It's kind of like in life, like, you know, kids a lot of the time, the first death they deal with is like a pet or a fish, and then they move, and then later on their dog dies. They have to deal with that trauma, and then later on their mom or their dad or a relative dies or their grandma dies. But they had that fish and that hamster and that dog up until then. They can kind of process it, you know, and then it might be a cousin or an aunt or somebody, and then later on in their life, their actual parent or brother or sister dies, and they built up to that.
Yeah, but what you described to me is so reductive and only like really observable in Western society. Meanwhile, you go to like some fucking mountain village in like, I don't know, Tibet or something. You think those 6-year-old like little kids don't grow up like slitting goats' throats or some shit just to fucking eat? Like, come on, dude. Like even cultures have like various different relationships with death.
Oh yeah, I could do something that's normal to me that will traumatize the next person on the fucking street.
Like what?
Well, I've been in some dangerous, like, drug and sex situations where a lot of people who haven't been in those situations would be like, holy fucking shit, I wouldn't be able to deal with that kind of shit, you know? Or like fuck them up.
Yeah, but that's not a cult. Yeah, but that's not a cultural
And I mean,
norm.
somebody can see something like, if you're a fucking hardened veteran or something, you've seen death, and you see death, it might be nothing to you. To the other person, they'll be like, and start puking because they can't take it.
Yeah, but death isn't culturally normalized. I'm saying like, I mean, actually, death is culturally normalized. I'm saying like, what you're describing isn't culturally normalized. You know, it's like whether or not, like when you talk about all that sex stuff and the drug stuff
in your life, that's how like it extends the culture. But like,
No, I'm not talking about
the
that,
first
though.
time at a punk show and I saw everyone moshing and jumping off the stage, I'm like, holy fucking shit. And after a while of being around it, I'm just like, yeah, that's what happens. Like any situation, anything you experience for the first time ever is going to be like, holy fucking shit. And then after a while, like the first time having sex, you're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And then after fucking 50,000 times, you're just like, yeah, this happens. It's cold sex. You just kind of you give a name to it, and then it's normalized for you in your life.
Yeah,
Well,
but
a
I'm
lot
not
of
talking
things.
about normalized for
Like
you.
we and you could speed through Manhattan on bicycles. Where if you put somebody who's never done that before, they'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die." They're freaked out. They're shaking. They're fucking. It's like a traumatizing experience for them.
I'm not
Like,
talking about that.
Cars coming at
I'm
them.
not talking about that, though. I'm talking about normalized for cultures. Like I'm saying, like, you know what the problem is?
Culture is
No,
just
no, no,
a bunch of
no,
people.
no. Okay, I see the problem. The problem is you never left the fucking country, so you don't know. I'm saying, like, if you go to like India and it's normal for people there to wipe their asses with their left hand, and before
yeah.
any of you in the fucking comments going crazy, oh, they don't do that. Shut the fuck up, all right? You know what I'm talking about, all right? Like if you see like
there are cultures who do a thing where they wipe their ass with the left hand and with the right hand they eat. And like, there's
okay.
billions of different fucking cultures.
Okay, exactly. And that's normal to them, right? But meanwhile, for people of other cultures, I'm saying what you're talking about though, like shooting up heroin in the fucking streets and getting into a meth orgy. That's you could look at people of your own culture and they'll look at you horrified, all right? That's not the same thing. That's not the same fucking thing.
I'm also saying like there's a culture for that though. There's a culture for people having sescapades on crystal meth. That's every day they do this shit and it's normal for them. Like every day they smoke crack and fuck a prostitute.
All right, define culture. What is a culture?
I went to Texas,
no. You got to define what a culture is.
Culture,
because now you're just pointing at things and saying that's a culture. That's a culture. What the fuck is a culture? Define a culture.
It's a bunch of people that are alike with the same kind of mindset, doing something all together that they all agree that it's normal. That's what culture is.
All right, so.
What's it? Yeah, give me the.
Because I'm just gonna go by accuracy's sake, and then I'll tell you what I think a culture is. Culture is the set of shared characteristics of a group of people, including their beliefs, values, and behaviors. It can also refer to the way of life for a society.
I was right then.
No. It's not just like what's considered
A
normal.
whole bunch of people together have the same ideas that are very much alike that just agree on one thing.
No.
A couple things.
Not a couple things. Okay, so
everything.
When you
it's a bunch of people that are
think
a certain way.
So here's why I think a lot of people can become culturally ignorant, right? And it's not really their fault, but it is kind of like nearsightedness. So I think you become culturally ignorant when you look at different cultures and you only look at what they do and not why they do it. Now, this goes back to what I've said plenty of times about tradition. Traditions are just solutions to problems we forgot about. So like when you really look at what a culture does, right? Those weird things that like as Americans, if we look at another culture and things that they've been doing for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and we might think it's weird. I don't think that should be equated to a culture of like meth orgies and shit. No, it's not the same because those people who are having orgies on meth are doing it for a completely different reason than those people who like literally at sundown fucking get on their knees and face east and pray to the east every fucking day. It's a very different thing, Brendan. You can't just look at both those things and be like, oh, they're both examples of culture. No, they're not. One is clearly just a byproduct of pure hedonistic expression. The other one was clearly was of a very ancient reasoning, and for all we know,
but the reason they all did it is because everyone else was doing it, and they all like this. We're gonna do this now. Okay, we're gonna do this.
No, it's not the fucking same. Remember, tradition.
The same.
No. Just because you forgot the problem the solution was for doesn't mean the problem went away. I mean, the only problem that meth orgies are fucking solving is boredom. That's called hedonism. That's not culture. There's nothing cultured about that. It's literally it's the opposite of culture. It's literally just having an animalistic urge, being around people who have the same animalistic urge. It's like, oh, we'll feel better about doing this to ourselves if we just do it together. That's not a culture.
What about punk rock? Like a music culture? That's a culture. That's based on a belief system.
Don't get me started on punk rock. Punk rock.
It's a culture.
No, punk rock is more.
Yes, it is. They all have a similar belief systems, similar music, similar emotions that they use for this belief system. It's a culture.
It's a psyop.
It's not a fucking psyop.
It's a product, dude. It's a
psyop
fucking
makes it sound
psyop.
like the government created it to fucking
prove it didn't.
See, you can't just
I could
use
prove
circular logic.
I could prove to you. I could prove to you the U.S. government didn't fucking invent praying to fucking Muhammad or praying to Mecca to the east. I could promise you the U.S. government didn't fucking invent that.
Yeah,
but you can't promise me that the U.S. government didn't invent punk. So maybe your loyalty maybe your loyalty should go farther back than fucking music bullshit. This all like fucking meth orgy
I'm not
culture.
saying loyalty. I'm just saying it is a culture. It's just like raves. Rave culture is a culture. That's why they call it a fucking culture.
Yo, dude, you think
there's a certain demographic of people that believe certain things that do a certain thing together.
If I think
we're
that
fucking hive mind people.
If I think punk, Brendan, if I think punk is a psyop, the rave culture is definitely 1000% a psyop. Are you fucking kidding?
End?
Are you serious?
We're gonna get a bunch of kids who do psychedelics and fucking dance around for 12 hours at a time.
Okay, let me break it down to you, right? What are these things? These things are an example of counterculture. What kind of people do you find like gathering around in environments of counterculture? We got free thinkers, people of rebellious predispositions, political outliers, all sorts of people that can't function properly in hyper-capitalism. And because you supposedly live in a civilized world, you can't just send your jackboot fucks to shoot them, because that would be a lot simpler. No, you have to think of a very clever way to get them to fucking kill themselves. So you invent this culture, in quotations, culture, right? Where it's literally just like you literally fuck yourself up so bad to the point where you either end up incarcerated, virtually sterile, or just straight up dead. Look at any punk. You
got serotonin syndrome and dopamine, fucked up dopamine systems out because of all the ecstasy you did, and you're probably gonna kill yourself within the next like 5 years or so.
It's a perfect closed loop of it's literally self-slaughter. So like so you're gonna sit there and tell me it's like, how is it not a government psyop? It did such a good job at getting like literally potential radical leaders, like great minds, great thinkers, independent thinkers, ugly people, all sorts of people who just wouldn't fit in properly in hyper-capitalism today. So what do? Send them into punk culture. They'll sort themselves out real quick. Look at any real punk. I'm not talking about posers or tourists. I'm talking about real punks. Ask them if they plan to have kids. They'll tell you, all of them. They'll be like, nah, man, I can't have kids. I'm too fucked up. And they're right.
Not true at all. Plenty of punk rockers have kids.
Yeah, and they're fucked up.
No, not all punk rockers.
Okay, you know what? There's exceptions to every rule, Brendan.
Punk rock is exceptions, but
there's exceptions to every rule, Brendan.
I don't think punk rockers itself isn't healthy. There's unhealthy people who do it, just like there's unhealthy people who like to go to raves. There's unhealthy people who like to
Brendan,
go to war.
The more punk you are, the more fucked up you are. That's just a fact, okay?
I don't think that's
and the more poser you are, guess what? The more you're about doing healthy things, like having a job, having a normal family, dressing like a normal person, not looking retarded.
That's a twisted idea of what a poser or a punk is. A poser, it's not a goody. You can be a goody two shoes and be a punk rocker. You can do all the right things and be a punk rocker.
Brendan, you know what the posers are? The posers are the lucky ones. They're the winners. They're the tourists. They're the ones who got to come in, get all the shit, experience all the shows, and not end up with a fucking heroin addiction, and not end up going to jail, and not end up committing suicide. They are the lucky ones, Brendan, and you're having trouble admitting that to yourself, but it's fucking true.
No, I'm saying it doesn't matter whether they claim to be punk or not. It doesn't have anything to do with their mental health and what they're going to become later on.
It has everything to do
There's
with your
plenty of
mental
people
health.
who are considered posers who are fucking dead. There's plenty of people who are punks who have a family and kids and a fucking white picket fence in a house.
Okay, see, that's just called whataboutism. And now you're the one that's just like fucking, going circular arguments. Which I just said, there's exceptions to every rule. That's all you're doing. You're just pointing out exceptions.
Yeah, so I think really it's up to the it doesn't matter what that person's into. It depends on the individual.
Do you identify as a punk?
No.
All right.
I don't really identify as any. It doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, so at least we can both agree we're speculating. We're both on the outside looking in then. Because if we don't identify as punks, then we're really just only speculating about punks that aren't us.
That's like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like
the whole fucking culture doesn't make sense.
The culture makes sense. The music makes sense, and what the music represents makes sense. But to call yourself,
I didn't say anything about the music. I said the culture doesn't make sense.
Nothing makes fucking sense.
Are you kidding me? Plenty of things make sense. This is all right. It's fine. This goes back to what I was going to say.
What would you say rave culture is? What is that? Goes like, okay, punk rock has a punk. It's weird because there's different vibes. There's
Brendan,
a very nihilistic kind of punk, and there's the very
Brendan, are you going to ramble?
Socialist
Are you going to
punk.
ramble or let me answer the fucking question?
What would you consider ravers? What is the vibe of a raver?
druggy. Same thing as like fucking like heroin punk use, like junkie punks.
See, that's wrong. You're considering punk as a drug thing. It's not a drug culture. Punk rock is not a drug culture.
No, it's a godless culture.
Not.
Yes, it
not
is.
Even
yes,
that.
yes,
No.
yes.
Not true.
Yes.
Not true.
Yes.
Punk isn't strictly I don't believe in God. That's not it at all. You can.
No, punk is I don't.
Punk is not restrictive.
All right, but guess what? We're like devotion to God is restrictive. You know why? If you're unrestricted, what's to restrict you from doing fucked up sinful shit, Brendan?
Just not being a cunt.
Not being self-destructive, because that's the worst sin of all.
Yeah, you don't need a God to do that. You can
Dude,
just be a nice
no matter
person.
what,
and
no
not
matter
believe in
what,
God.
no matter what religion it is, the worst sin you could do isn't even hurting others. The worst sin you could do is harming yourself.
Yeah, but everyone does that.
No. People
Everyone's
who respect
harming themselves in some way at some point in their life.
Yeah, but if all right, it's a spectrum. You can't spend every waking moment of your day doing good things for yourself, but
Yeah,
you can't spend
that
every
means
waking
you're
moment of your day doing bad things for
That means
yourself.
you're saying punk rock is just, and I've definitely went on this route of punk rock, the self-destructive, but it's not just that.
What else is it, Brendan?
I
Is
don't
it,
know.
Exactly.
It's really hard to define.
You don't fucking know.
You really can't, like, because there's punk rockers who are like, fuck everything, just get fucked up. And then there's punk rockers who are just like, you gotta be really socially conscious and think about the environment and help people and fight the system, but not by getting fucked up, but by being conscious and like my family, most of them are, like, my dad is a union worker and he also works as a chef. He's worked more than full-time his whole fucking life. He's an anarchist. His belief is anarchy.
Yeah, he's a terrible anarchist if he's fucking working.
No, that's not. That's a no, because he's putting his fucking anarchy does not mean fuck it, I'm gonna be a douche. Anarchy to a lot of people, to what the actual definition would be, people actually being responsible individually and taking care of each other without having to be forced by poverty or gunpoint. It's a community
But
thing.
he is forced by poverty or gunpoint.
Because we live in a capitalist society.
Yeah.
You can be an anarchist and live in a you have to abide by
But then
the
you're
rules.
a failed anarchist.
You're not a failed anarchist.
You're a defeated
because
anarchist.
Doing everything
You're a
you
conquered
can.
anarchist.
No, you're doing
so
everything
you're living
Look,
under.
no, listen.
You're the defeated ones.
No,
you're the conquered ones.
Listen, you're not fucking listening to me. No,
You're on the losing side.
yeah, have fun not getting a job. That's not gonna fucking work. You have.
I mean, like, why would you keep identifying as something that's
Look,
clearly
you
not
could be a
working
worse-
for you?
Okay, the shitty anarchists are the ones who don't have a job and are sitting in fucking Thompson Square Park begging for a couple bucks from the working class man who has to give it to them.
Oh,
on
so
their
you're
walk
saying,
through
so
the
you're
park.
saying you and your family are that
That's
much.
not an
So you
anarchist.
saying,
That's just
oh
being
no,
lazy.
wait. So you're saying
I'm not
you.
saying I'm not fucking lazy.
So you saying you and your family are way better than that guy, huh? Who
I'm not
also.
saying better or worse. I'm just saying that's not.
You're comparing yourself.
In
Oh,
an
we're the
anarchist
real
society-
anarchists, unlike that fucking douchebag on the street.
If we were really lived by that, everyone would individually have to be responsible for each of their own actions and how they contributed to that society. So it's not about what can I get out of this. It's like I'm getting everything. What can I give to this? Anarchy is structured humans acting naturally to support each other. Like we have a garden. When we have excess food, we don't hoard it. We have excess vegetables, we give it to the neighbors next door. They give us fucking whatever they give us. We give it to the neighbors across the street. We try to do these little acts of what anarchy would be in our capitalist society. We trade, hey, you grow sugar cane. You know, we have a neighbor who grows certain things, has certain things, and we grow certain things. So we might trade it, or we might just give them, and then when their season comes up, they'll give it to us because there's so much abundance.
That's not anarchy,
we live on
Brendan.
a planet
That's
full
not
of
anarchy.
abundance.
Can you let me correct you because you're wrong. That's not anarchy. That's syndicalism. That's syndication amongst private parties. of their own research.
Anarcho-syndicalists. It's like in Monty Python, where he's like, I'm sorry, I am your king. And he's like, we don't have a king. It's like, what? He's like, we live in an anarcho-syndicist commune.
Yeah,
We take turns being an executive officer of the week. All decisions must be ratified by a bi-weekly meeting. And it's like come see the violence inherent in the
Right.
system.
So then let's correct.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's correct.
Anarchism is pretty much a form of socialism.
Let's correct this. First of all, you guys are not that what you described, that's not fucking anarchy, okay? That is anarcho-syndicalism, as you called it from that Monty Python bit. All right. That's first of all. Second of all, I don't disagree with that system. The only thing about that system that I disagree with is you can't scale that out. That system works in a family. That system could work in a small
It
town.
works with the neighbors.
It could work in a small town or community, but it cannot work for a whole fucking country. It cannot work for a population of 8 billion
small
people.
community just takes
But
care
that's
of
not.
itself,
But that's not society,
that's
Brendan.
realistic,
Society is not an
because
enclosed.
society is wrong. Society as it is right now, we have to both know
But that's not a
that
solution.
it's fucked
But
up
that's
and
not-
it's leading to death.
Okay.
We're
That's
all
not,
gonna fucking
Brendan,
die.
that's not a solution. That's not what you just said. That's not a solution.
That's
that
just
doesn't.
natural order.
That's not a
Every other
solution.
creature on this planet is alive, and they don't even have the faculties that we have. We should be thriving way more.
Brendan, all you're doing right now is just pointing at a dumpster on fire and be like, "Hey, look, that dumpster on fire." Like that's all you're doing right now. So think. Use your.
Well, it is kind of on fucking fire. I'm saying
use
if
your-
everybody had the consciousness to be individually responsible and not think like, well,
Okay,
what am I?
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
if it wasn't about money, we would naturally just do things for each other. It like people like think like, oh, if there wasn't money, people would just not do anything. No, we would all.
All right. So
Money was
Brendan,
a byproduct
let
of
me-
what we've been doing.
Let me
in the
cut
first
that
place, right?
chain of cognition down right now, which I agree with you, by the way. So before we even, right now, you're getting way ahead of yourself.
I do that.
Before we do that,
I do that.
let's do this. What you just described, we have to get to a consciousness where what you described, it can't be about money and self-interest, right? How? How do you?
It is also self-interest.
Can
It's
you just
enlightened self-interest.
Can you just let me get how? I ask you, how can you promote that state of consciousness in people? How can you get more people into that frequency? How?
Well, you have to. I guess you start small. Instead of going and work. Okay, you have to work. You have to. I'm sorry. You have to get a fucking job. You live in a capitalist society. You kind of have no choice. You can't go off the grid.
I love like leaving Brendan the breadcrumbs, and he finds like the right conclusion. He's like, yeah.
To. So, in order to implement this kind of idea and thinking, I guess what my family would do. When I was talking to my fucking dad the other day, Seamus works. My little brother, he's an electrician. He wakes up at like 4 in the fucking morning.
Yeah.
Gets his ass to work. Smokes pot a lot too, and gets everything done too. I mean, he's amazing. I don't know how he does it. And comes home, takes a shower. He might go to a show, come back, and then he'll go into the garden for like 2 or 3 hours. Be gardening. And we have everything from zucchini to squash. We have pumpkins. We're each picking a pumpkin now. Cucumbers, lettuce. We don't buy vegetables in the summer. We have so much comes up. Like, I guess if you have a garden, you don't realize that like it keeps coming. Once you've had that first couple of sprouts, it just, if you don't pick it, it dies. You have to every day, like, holy shit, there's more. You have to keep picking it and washing it because so much comes out of the fucking ground, dude. And it's so much that we can't finish it as a huge family of like 7 or 8 people living in that house, that we give it to the other neighbors. And they also sometimes grow something. Like we have some Asian neighbors, they grow one thing. Yeah. But they will be like, hey, when their season, their time comes up and they have an overabundance, they'll bring us some. Yeah. And we'll do this. We have other people who have chicken eggs. So like, why are all the eggs different colors in the carton today? They're like, oh, we got it from so-and-so because we gave them those figs last month from our fig tree, and they give us a bunch of eggs.
So again, like,
because they have chickens.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but rewind what you just said.
Do those little things.
No.
Keep working, but have a garden. Maybe get some chickens. It's not hard to get chickens and raise chickens and just make your own eggs. And you'll have so many extra eggs that not only will you not be able to finish and eat all of them, you'll have to give them away because nature is so abundant that you can't possibly consume as much as it gives you if you do it the right way.
Yeah, but what about most people who live in like apartments and shit?
See, that's a problem. We built our society around these shit. Like, really? Like, I forgot what thing I was watching the other day, but it is true that humans, every human being, which we're fucking like shitty puppies, like domesticated animals compared to humans 100 fucking years ago. Because everyone, whether they had a trade or not, also knew how to grow food, knew how to collect water, knew how to cut a tree and make lumber. So, like, back in the day, most people knew how to do everything to barely survive, at least. And nowadays, it's you go here, you get a cookie cutter, and just go to college for one trade. You don't know how to grow food. You don't know how to fucking raise animals. You don't know how to build a house. You know how to fucking do tax forms. So now you have to just do tax forms, and then whatever income you make out of that, Pay the guy that knows how to grow food and get food from the grocery store. Pay the guy who knows how to build a house and level property and buy a house from him. So now you have 50 fucking middlemans for every other thing that a human being, a lot of human beings should just naturally know how to, if worst case scenario, build a house, at least build a shelter, grow their own food, collect water. That should be a natural thing. And they don't teach us that in school. We've been fucked up. They make us dependent on the system so you can get whatever job we tell you. They don't want us to be smart. They don't want us to be self-sufficient. They want us to know just enough to do the fucking shit job they want us to do to keep the system running rather than being self-sufficient. Self-sufficiency is not a good thing in a capitalist society.
So
you need to know one thing.
Do you want me to explain how that mechanism works? I'll tell you right now. So
it's not good though.
Do you want me to explain it?
Without the help
Brendan.
of the guy who
Brendan,
your landlord,
yes,
your
we know it's bad.
Stores,
it sucks. Yes, we know. Yeah, it's all terrible. Great. Okay, I'll explain to you.
You know how to get it on your computer and do your job. But if that's not a thing anymore, you're fucking dead.
That's not
What are you
true.
gonna go kill a fucking raccoon and cook it over a fire like shit style? Like you don't even know how to skin a fucking animal? No, we don't know shit. We don't know how to build a cabin. We don't know real.
I know how to
human
fish.
Yeah, okay, that might help. Yeah, a lot of people know how to fish, but not everyone does. I don't know how to fish.
Sucks for you.
I'd probably starve before I figured it out well enough to be able to
Okay,
do it.
so right now, what
naturally,
you're
100 or 200 years
okay,
ago,
so
everyone knew how
I don't
to
mean
do
to
this.
stop you, but right now, like you're getting dangerously close to projecting your own inability on like the entire world. So before you get there, let me just say this. I want to go back to what you're saying. Yes, everyone's all fucked up. We get it. Nobody knows how to do shit. Blah blah blah. It's all terrible. Great. The reason why it's like that though, it's because there's two different concepts that people fall into, like two categories. You have the specialists and the generalists. Now, when you hear those two words, they kind of like trigger different emotional responses, right? Like the specialist, you look at that with like reverence. Say, oh, a specialist, a true master at their craft, a true maestro. No
like
one's
the swordsmith,
whatever.
like
Yeah, a specialist, right?
the blacksmith.
Then there's the generalists.
The blacksmith can probably grow his own food. Though.
Brendan, you can't. All right,
Okay.
So then you have generalists. The generalists are pretty much have like not masters of one specific skill, but they're generally like good at like a bunch of different things. Now, a good metaphor for this would be like kings and pirates. Now, the thing about kings is kings only truly yeah, they traveled relatively, but it was few and far between. Like unless they were off at war, like kings really only saw and knew their own kingdom, right? But when it comes to pirates saw the world. Pirates were the generalists. If anything, kings relied on the pirates to tell them what's going on in the world because they knew the pirates saw everything. The pirates were the ones that controlled everything. They were the ones that were able to control the trade. They were able to be the ones to tell the kings whatever the fuck they wanted to tell them. You know, oh yeah, the world is like this. Oh yeah, Spain's not really doing much here. Oh yeah, England's not going to fuck with you here. Go here. They're the ones that were able to direct you. They ran the fucking the water routes, right? So that back to like specialists and generalists, we're all trained to be conditioned to become specialists in modern society in the industrial era, right?
Yeah.
Because after the industrial age, you had machines that could do a lot of the labor. We could make assembly lines. We could just like have someone just pull a lever and do the work it would have taken like hundreds of men to do in like 10 minutes.
See, if everyone knew how to make those machines, that would make sense.
Okay, but point being, like, there was a reason why people for like a century and a half or 2 centuries were pretty much being pushed and programmed to becoming specialists, right? You're basically just a cog. And once you break down, they could be like, oh, get the new guy in, train the new guy, and he just replaces him like a cog in a machine. So that's why it was such a good business model, you know, for like people who ran the companies. Now, the problem with that now is we were able to sustain on that model for many, many, many years. Why not make an honest living just fucking pulling a lever? If I could go home to my white picket fence house and feed my family and shit and say hi to my dog and drive my fucking...
Be the elevator guy.
And drive my Chevy, whatever.
Before the elevator became automated.
Yeah, so...
There used to be an elevator man.
Yeah, or whatever. Like
you didn't know how to control an elevator, getting on one. You had the elevator guy do it for you.
Yeah, and there was more value in such labor because it wasn't automated. There weren't advanced technologies that were able to like spit all this shit out like that. And now it's becoming an even bigger problem because this is what's happening. all the specialists of the world, which most of us are, because most of us are taught since childhood to be specialists, not generalists. Like if you were a kid and you went up to and your parent asks, "Oh, what do you want to do with your life?" and you tell them, "Oh, I want to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You know, if I feel like I want to start doing something, I'll just get into that." Most of your parents, unless you're rich, like your parents will look at you like you're fucking retarded. They'll be like, "What the fuck are you talking about, kid?" However, if you actually did that, if you actually stopped and think about it and like look where it got us now. Now machines really are taking up before it wasn't, you didn't notice it. It was only, oh, so what, a couple of things got automated. So what, we have an automated kiosk for soda. So what if we have this and that? Eventually it leads up to this point, well, oh, congratulations. Now entire like movie production and writing processes are entirely automated. Now like creation is pretty much automated. Now what? It's like now the specialists are really fucked. Now it's getting to a point where the only way to have a life or to like get ahead is to be a generalist. And this is honestly why I think I'm having a really good time in life, because that's just how I've always gotten by, as a generalist. Like I never finished high school, I never went to college. I literally had to just like go by, like make the most of what was given to me at any given time. And once I learned how to do that, it's not like I got anything. It's not like I got a large sum of money or gained like the right connection or anything like that. The truth is, my experiences gave me a very mixed set of skills where it's like, each skill on its own may not be that much, but when you actually coalesce it all together, that becomes its own niche. That becomes me. That becomes who I am. That becomes a combination of things. So only I can do what I do. Not because I do one thing. It's because I do many different things, which led to a point where I do these many different things, but in a way that only I can do it. And that is why being a generalist is the meta. It's the new meta. So yeah, what Brendan described, that whole hellscape scenario where everyone's getting fucked over and all that shit. Yeah, but there's a way to avoid that. Just stop trying to be the fucking specialist. Stop trying to be a cog. Stop trying to be a carpenter. Stop trying to be a chef. Stop trying to be a photographer.
A lot of people
stop trying to be
get a career.
Stop trying to be a music producer. I know. And that's the big problem we're at, right? So the question is, are you comfortable in life to be able to explore yourself as a generalist, or are you still in a lack mentality where you still have to chase specialization? It's like, oh, I have to specialize in this one thing in life, otherwise I'll never be valued in life.
Yeah, but we're also kind of like the very question, as a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? There's a lot of cultures where they don't ask you that. Like,
well, first of all, you know what you're going to be when you
tribe
grow up.
somewhere. They're like, yeah,
you're gonna
like,
be a
we're not
hunter.
asking you. This is what men do here. You unless you're a female or you just suck. That's it. There's no other options. Like, when you're 16, we're going to throw you in the fucking woods and hopefully you survive. And then you're going to, every once in a while, go out with the other guys, kill something and bring it back to us. And if you're a female, you're going to stay back. And when they bring it back, you're going to fucking make clothing out of it. And you're going to do this shit. And it's not even a rule. It's just like, it goes without saying. It's not like they have to tell you to do these things. They're like, Brendan, well, you're a guy.
So Brendan, I want to circle
like,
this.
Is
what
just
you just
what
said.
We do.
All right. So hold that thought. What you just said, right, is very important, because remember what we were talking about before, how like, what you just described was like one of the most prehistoric versions or forms of gender roles, right? Well, we in the modern society would define as gender roles. That's exactly what they are on its surface. In its function, they're gender roles, right? And fast forward to today, where people are stopping and asking, what's the point of all these gender roles? Why is this important? Why are you impressing gender roles on us? And remember what I said before?
Well, in the society we live, we don't need that.
Stop. I'm just saying, traditions are solutions to problems we forgot. And just because we forgot these problems doesn't mean these problems magically go away. Nothing new under the sun, man.
I guess so, yeah. But like, right there, if it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? A female or a male can be a fucking doctor. Also, a female or a male could be a hunter or a gatherer. Yeah. But you know what? If that female, if that female becomes a doctor, right, and she still for some reason can't have babies, or like maybe she's like so unfuckable as a person, like she can't attract a mate, she's gonna be fucking miserable. Not if you have a goal and you're saving lives.
Unless she's a lesbian, or unless she has a cat that she really, really loves.
That's what you need now.
What?
Capitalism and a cat, That's why we need so many cats nowadays.
There's exceptions to every rule, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's people that are just so dead inside where it's like, yeah, I never want to create life. You know, like yeah, I'm sure that exists.
Yeah, but there was other roles that came like.
Yeah, there's plenty of goals for the ego, which I agree. It's all ego based. Even having a kid,
you know that
even
movie,
having
that
a
stupid
kid.
fucking movie Year One. There's
Yeah.
actually some good tidbits in it though. Like the like it's like there's just I have to go between like the what's the kid's name?
I don't care.
Michael Cera.
Okay, yeah,
And
I know
he
that.
that's the kid's name. The kid. He's a fucking like 30-year-old man now.
Yeah.
He's just a kid. But yeah, yeah, like
He's just a
Michael
kid.
Cera's character is just like a shitty gatherer. And everyone makes fun of him because they're the men, and they're just like, "Oh, you have to be a gatherer because you're like a little bit." And he's like, "Well, and he's like decent at it, but he like he has like a different career in mind. He's like, "There's only two things to be: a hunter or a gatherer." And he's like, "Well, I'm like a maker though." And there's no such fucking thing. But he did, and he ended up inventing shit and making things easier for everyone. So yeah, from that primordial fucking natural, you stay here, you eat. You make food. I go out and kill. It's fucking outdated. Yeah,
Okay.
eventually.
No. See,
We're not
look,
fucking fish
Brendan,
anymore
Brendan,
either.
yo,
we don't live in the
you know-
fucking
you know what I-
water.
you know
and
what
we
I
live
hate?
there.
Honestly-
Our culture was different.
honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm going to say this as respectfully as possible. But you know what
This is gonna
re-
be so disrespectful, everybody.
You know what I really fucking hate about that argument? That like because what you said, it's not the first time I've heard it. I hear it time and time again, and it's not that I think they're completely wrong. It's I don't think they have the entire correctness in mind when they fucking spout their whole spiel. All right, I think
I don't think anyone has a full answer. I think everyone has
okay,
half answers.
yo,
at best.
honestly, I think the truth, what closer to the truth, right, would be yes, you're right. Now that we do live in more modern times, yes, you know what? People can subvert their gender limitations, okay? Like women can be doctors just like men. Men can be nurses. Men can be fucking whatever. Men can be blah, blah, blah. You know what? That's based on their desires, all right? And just because they have the freedom to do that doesn't mean as men they have any less of a desire. No matter how much you suppress it, doesn't mean they have any less of a desire to go out and hunt something or conquer something. And women, just because they have the freedom to go out and be fucking lawyers and doctors, doesn't mean that that other parts of them get reduced as like their primal form either. What you're doing is trying to reduce that. You're trying to just scrub away the fucking animal parts of us, the parts that we come from, and say, oh yeah, see, we don't need that part anymore. We don't need that shit anymore because that shit's what?
You gotta make babies.
I'm just exactly. So
Well, you can just let the race die.
So that's what I fucking hate about that shit. It says every time people talk like that, where they're like, "Yo, yeah, we don't need. We're like, what are you fucking living in the Stone Age because blah blah blah." It's like, yo, like, are you serious? Like, how much do you hate yourself as like a human animal, like a human being, where you're just gonna like deny a whole primal aspect of yourself? Which is, we wouldn't be here without that. We wouldn't survive without that. And you're going to sit there and tell me, oh, we've outgrown that. We're beyond that. We're past that. Like, why can't you integrate that? Like, the fuck is wrong with you? And this is how you know people need to do shadow work in the modern world. That's your fucking problem. That's the part of us that we suppress.
That's definitely in a mass psychosis all the time. Most people are.
Because we fucking repress this shit that, that we're really not supposed to. And when it comes to like certain like, rituals and traditions that we thought was barbaric, like tests of physical combat and like superiority or like fucking I don't know, like a female desire to look pretty and be like dominated or whatever, like however
that desire doesn't go away. Everyone wants to look fucking pretty.
That's what I'm fucking saying. It's like, so to repress that, to try to act like, oh, we've evolved past that, now we could subvert that, now we could be in active defiance to that. No, that's fucking stupid. That's psychosis. That's going to turn you
humanity is going to change that much ever. We still make.
So then why try?
We still make fart and dick
I'm
jokes.
saying we're not supposed to try to force changes. Why try to force a change when you could try to like literally actively work with what you got and make it better?
I just think capitalism ran its course.
See, it's like whenever you come to like the thing, it's like instead of like going to like crossing the final threshold, it's like everyone always points to something. It's always got to be Trump or capitalism or white people or straight.
But capitalism only goes so far. Now it's like it's getting to the point.
It's a spiritual thing.
It's not a spiritual.
It's more a spiritual thing. Now people have to realize, like, yo, you don't feel like
we have to hold back certain technologies that we know exist in order to keep
capitalism.
No.
That's all fear-based tactics. That's fear-based responses.
Capitalism is fear-based.
Yeah, so why
it's a system based on lack.
So what? You're gonna use more lack to fight lack? That's fucking stupid.
No, it would be less like we are not. There are certain things There's a lot of things that are not profitable that would benefit
Brendan,
everyone that we
Brendan,
don't
first
use
of all,
because of
Brendan,
capitalism.
first of all, it's really stupid to try to stop things that clearly just cannot be stopped. Like that's
Capitalism can definitely end.
when? When has it ever ended?
It can.
When has it? I know it could end. So can the fucking earth, and the sun could burn out too. But I'm saying, when has it ever ended?
Not yet. That
Yeah.
obviously because we're living in it, but like I'm not. That doesn't mean it's permanent. Like that's never.
I mean, it's outlasted.
That's never.
It's outlasted empires. It's outlasted kingdoms. It's outlasted countries. It's outlasted entire generations. So I don't know. Maybe you should give it a little more due respect, considering that it actually fucking outlasted everything.
Yeah, if you look at history as a whole, it's not that old.
I'm not saying you should like it. I'm just saying you should respect it. You know, it is a force of nature at this point.
We did it, yeah. So, and we are. See, that's why, like.
Well, first
I never
of all,
understood when people
you
like
can't-
say natural or unnatural, right? Because that makes no sense to me.
well, no. Okay.
Everything is in the universe is natural,
Capitalism,
but it's man-made.
okay.
That's natural. We're natural.
But capitalism is not a monolith. You understand? It's not that it's natural or unnatural. It's not a monolith. It's not just its own closed system, or we're not subject to it, just that its own closed system. Capitalism falls under a bigger system. There's forces greater than capitalism, which is resource management. That's all it is. Like if you took an AI that was as advanced as God, you know, and was able to do that much.
You can't really put the prices on resources.
No, I'm saying there's you could transcend the concept of prices, where it's not about prices, it's about storage of value. And what is that ultimately?
A resource-based economy, then.
What is that ultimately? That
would mean everything.
No, stop. No.
Equally.
Instead of diverging, like stick to that path. Like, what is that? When you think of storage of value at its core's level, what exactly is value? What is that value that you're storing?
It's based on scarcity.
No. I'm saying there is a thing there, but you just got to put a name to it. You just got to know what it is. It's not time. A lot of people say.
Well, I'm
time.
saying it's based on either abundance or scarcity.
No, it's
you have a certain amount
Brendan,
of this,
Brendan,
and everyone gets this many parts
Brendan,
depending on how many people there are.
Brendan, the answer is energy. It's all.
Yeah.
It all. No. You can't just say it like that and just shrug it off.
I
like,
can. I just did.
I know.
Everything is energy.
I know, but
was I wrong? No.
But you can't just treat.
Am I just saying a word?
No,
Yes.
you can't just treat a correct statement like it's a stupid platitude. You know, that's not.
It is though.
It's
At
not.
the same time, it is.
No, that's the illusion. That's your ego saying.
Even
it
the
is.
word spiritual is a redundant fucking word. Because if everything came from spirit,
Brendan,
then the word itself is redundant.
No,
because
Brendan,
it just means everything.
Brendan, everything is redundant then.
Everything is redundant.
Okay, so then why
Everything
the
is
fuck?
just
So then why
novelty and labels?
So then what's the point of living? Why not just kill yourself?
I don't know. This is my problem, buddy.
Okay, so then should you just kill yourself right now?
See, that's pointless too. Because that's pointless too.
Yeah.
That's effort. I need to make a conscious effort to kill myself.
No, you're just making excuses now. See, this goes back to circular thinking.
On this day, now imagine I just kill myself on the camera, just like
Brendan
to win an argument.
Brendan reached enlightenment. And
I reached enlightenment.
himself.
Supposedly, everyone you've ever known that's committed suicide, they were just fucking woke as fuck.
Okay. All right, back to what I'm saying. Instead of treating like being a dickhead about energy, right? First of all, if you put attention to it, you already give it shape. You give it psychic energy, okay? So it's an actual thing. It exists. Now, if more people were conscious of their energy and how they're spending it, they would have a lot less problems in life. Their energy is like what
life
gets
is
wasted.
just a problem.
No,
Life starts as a problem. The minute you're born, it's like I need air, I need food, I need. It's the minute you start, it's like okay. Within 12 hours, something needs to go inside of this stomach or I'm going to be fucked up.
All right.
Immediately, you're just like completely dependent upon like time-based fucking like things.
All right. What do you think? What do you think about what I just said? How everything, like if people.
It depresses me to watch like David Attenborough nature shows because it's just like when I watch, it's like the most basic form of life. So like I can look at humanity and it seems more complex, but when I watch the animals and I'm just like, and this lion fed its fork. There's a pack of hyena. But the hyena got to eat. I'm like, there's no right or wrong. It's based on perspective. Am I rooting for these fucking animals or these ones? Because either way, the predator or the prey, they both have a story back there. And it's like, it's so fucking it's so like brutal and relentless. It's so like the universe is hostile.
All right. So what do you think? What do you think
It's
about
just full of death.
So
and
what do
fucking,
you? So what do you think when I say?
everything's fighting each
So
other.
what do you think when I say the world would be a better place if people were more conscious of their energy and how they use it?
I guess you can always be more, but who's to say we aren't where we need to be right now? Like, we are where we are right now. So that's like we made a mistake, or did evolution take its natural course? And this is so we're like, this is bad. Capitalism bad. Bombs bad. Bombs are unnatural. Are nuclear bombs really unnatural? Because we are natural, and that is just like, if you think about it, the universe is a fucking explosion that's still happening, and we are an intricate part of that explosion that started thinking for itself and then creating nuclear bombs and shit. So that means that nuclear bomb is natural. It's like just as natural as the fucking dust that formed us.
So do you think people?
So nothing is unnatural.
So do you think people are incapable?
It's evolution.
So do you think people are incapable of being more conscious of how they use their energy?
No. But I think evolution and nature is just taking its course, and whether it forms and just dies and kills itself like a fucking single cell organism or some shit, eventually just gets too big and goes and collapses on itself. That's what's meant to happen.
All right. So what do you think is like? Let's say you take a random person, right? An average person who works a regular job, right? Maybe even he makes minimum wage, right? And he's lucky to make even that. What would you say is easier for him? You know, in order to improve his life, right? If he had a choice between making $1 million or like trying to make $1 million immediately, or learning to be more conscious of how he uses his energy. Like, what do you think is more accessible to him as a strategy?
Well, it depends on what you're being conscious to use your energy for. So I think like you can't
Like,
really,
what if
you say that
if
your theory was like you all you take is your memories and think, and I'm at a point where
I'm asking. Let me say, like, let's say the average person, right? What if you look at the average person's day? What do? They wake up, they look at their phone for like 30 minutes straight in bed, scroll through some porn, jack off. Maybe that'll take another 15 minutes, and a whole chunk of your chi, your energy from jacking off, right? And then maybe they'd scroll even more, longer for another hour. You know how much energy that takes? That's literally taking your focus energy, your focus chi.
The brain takes more energy than anything physical you can possibly do.
And then until you get up, so you basically don't eat anything, and maybe you don't even get up till like the afternoon, right? Which is fucked up in and of itself. So all these things, like that's the average person. That's being unconscious of how you spend your energy. That's not good. If less people
not giving a fuck.
I mean, seriously, like not giving.
That's not complete unconsciousness.
Dude,
that's just not caring. It's being conscious of it and going, yeah, I acknowledge that. Fuck it.
Yeah, it still takes energy.
Everything takes energy.
Exactly. So then why not put your energy towards something that's?
Take energy?
So then why not put your energy towards?
Sleep?
It's like a reset button. It's like clearing up the crowded office during the day.
That feeling? It's like sleep is addictive.
Right.
It can be addictive. That feeling when like you wake up and you wake up and you look at your clock and you have like an hour or two left and it's like oh yeah, it's like orgasmic almost. Like I get that, and like that feeling of like just fuck it and going back to sleep.
Yeah.
It's bad. That's like right now at this point in my life, that's my worst addiction.
What?
And it's because if I had the choice to not get a burst of mental anxiety thinking I need to do something today, I would sleep indefinitely, which is almost like saying I would just be dead. But sleeping is so comforting and so something about sleeping.
Right. So yeah, I think people should be more conscious of how they spend their energy and as a result time. I think that would do more to fix the world than any stupid fucking political upheaval or whatever the fuck stupid shit these 4chan people want to talk about.
Can't, like, unless you have a mass revolution, the best thing you can do every day is to just try to be as kind as you can to any other person.
Yes. Let's great segue. Let's get into tangible spiritual strategies that you could apply to your day-to-day life for immediate improvement. Now, here's what I do. When it comes to energy, you only get a certain budget of your day, right? And this is how you get right with God, because the thing is, not God or the universe or source, energy, whatever you want to call it, how you get right with that frequency, how you get into that positive frequency where you start to get blessings in your life, this is how you do it. Like, honestly, first step is you got to be conscious of your energy, because your energy could be attuned to different frequencies. For example, if a lot of your energy goes to self-serving shit, then that's all the universe is going to reward you with, is going to treat you like a self-serving piece of shit. If most of your energy goes out towards serving everyone else, the universe is going to treat you like a bitch who doesn't respect himself and be like, oh, what? You just don't, you can't accept the blessings of the universe yourself, so you just freely give it away like some asshole. Fuck you. So the key is to find some kind of like moral balance. And let's say you have a certain budget of energy every day you wake up throughout the day. I say give 49% of your energy towards yourself and 51% of your energy towards others. I'm not saying like some crazy ratio, like 60% others and 40% yourself, or 80% others. And no, I'm saying 49% yourself. That's almost half, dude. That's like a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And 51% to others. And if you do that, that's all God wants. That's all universe wants. That's all the positive frequency. That's all the angels want. Whatever. That's all the ETs want. Whichever upper extra dimensional force that you adhere to for blessings, you will get on their good graces if you just tune to yourself, your energy, your most basic fundamental essence, your energy. If you could tune that specifically, I mean, you don't have to count moment to moment. Just keep that intention in your heart, not in your head. Like, don't repeat those words over and over in your head. Just say it once in the morning. Be like, I'm going to devote 49% of my energy to myself and 51% of my energy to others. Just say that with pure intention in the morning and just live out your day. And trust me, like when it matters, you'll remember. If you just do that one time in the day, every day, 49% energy to me, 51% energy to others. Write it down if you have to. Like put it on a piece of paper, you know, like hang it up or whatever. Like it'll help, trust me. And that's all God asks of you. That's all the universe asks of you. That's all life asks of you. They don't want you to sacrifice everything. They don't want you to be a fucking saint. They don't want you to give exactly half. They just want you to give a little more than half. That's all they ask. Just,
You know what? It's crazy because, you know, even though I'm in and out sometimes, like in the AA book,
yeah.
it says the spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it.
Yes.
And it's so, like, to me, like, you know, people like I've known plenty of fucking, you know, white kids with fucking dreadlocks who are like, I'm spiritual, man. And they're like, yeah, I'm snorting cocaine off the fucking bathroom stall. And I'm like, I'm spiritual because I listen to Alan Watts and fucking like Tool. Fuck
Dude,
you.
The more spiritual, the more spiritual I get.
And be honest. You'd be more spiritual if you were honestly saying, listen, I'm kind of a narcissist and have problems.
Exactly.
And admitting it, and at least being honest that I'm a sinner. Like a Christian that believes that they're fucking saintly is the worst Christian ever.
Probably.
Same as anyone in spirituality.
Yeah.
You have to be fucking humble.
Yeah. The more spiritual I get, the more...
Somebody who's a piece of shit who admits they're a piece of shit is way better. Like, the Jesus parable, actually. Jesus walks in and there's a tax collector and a, what's the word for it? Not a pharaoh. Fucking,
Friar?
No, what's the word for the Jewish, I forgot the word.
A rabbi?
Kind of like a rabbi. They were like a holy man, a holy Jewish person. And they're in the temple, and the tax collector's there. And the tax collector is like, it's in the parable. He's like, Jesus, like, he's like, dude, I'm a sinner. I collect money from people. Like, I'm a dirty piece of shit. Like, he knew it. And then the other guy was like, I'm so pious. At least I'm not like these tax collectors and these adulterers. And the Pharisee,
Mm-hmm.
and it said, and Jesus like said in his own words, he's like, God bless the tax collector, and curse the Pharisee, and it was because like he's like, I'm so pious and better than these people, and that's more of an ego trip than that guy who was at least like, listen, man, I need to make money. I'm a douche though. I know I fucked these old people over and fucked these people over, and like I'm gonna admit it. I'm a dick, and God bless that one rather than the one who's like, well, so at least I'm not like those fucking people, man. Like they know they're being a cunt about it.
Yeah,
you know, like it's kind of like I have known too many, like I've been, you know, I've done a lot of drugs, so I've been around a lot of these fucking white kid fucking, you know, like they're like especially psychedelic types and stuff. They're just like, I'm spiritual, man. It's like, no, like what do you like for one, you're appropriating black culture. Like like fucking comb your hair, dude. Like your hair's not natty enough. Like that means you just haven't washed it.
Funny.
And like, I'm sorry, you have a salt lamp and you lick your salt lamp in your house, and you have a fucking poster of Ganesh. So now you're appropriating Indian culture, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I just saw you do cocaine last week in a bar. So you're not spiritual because you haven't renounced anything.
I don't think
at least admit that you.
I don't even think you have to renounce anything either.
I really, at this point, I believe spirituality at some point, it depends on what your lifestyle is, takes some form of renunciation.
Oh, well, actually, yeah, I do. I do agree with that.
There needs to be a sacrifice being done, unless it means fucking dick squat.
Honestly, that's the key to getting blessings. Like the more things you sacrifice, the more blessings you get. It's true. I've felt it. I've literally felt this.
Anything you put before God, well, you're putting before God. So if you wake up and look at your phone first, and wake up and light a cigarette first, that means that cigarette or your phone or your email or the YouTube is more important than God. So whatever is more important than God in your life, in the terms of spirituality, is a hindrance.
It's
like
true.
Jesus said, if your fucking eyeballs, if your eye fucking causes you to sin, cut it out. Like, he pretty much told people, like, rip your fucking eyeball. If they cause you to, if you're looking at asses and tits more than you're thinking about God, just rip your eyes out. Fuck your eyes, because your everlasting soul means more.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Like, that's what the basis of religion is, to love God. That's what religion is, to love God. To
I
find
think one of the
love
things
for God that
I think one of the things that I
love for
sacrificed that
material shit.
actually
And
mattered.
I am not fucking there. Fuck that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I sacrificed that actually really
To be
made a
honest.
tangible thing was porn. Like once I sacrificed porn, I got like it was insane.
Yeah, but what if to get to God you had to sacrifice weed, alcohol, cigarettes, sugary foods?
Well, let me tell you.
Anything
Brendan,
that
Brendan,
is pleasurable that makes you think
Brendan,
more about that than
Brendan,
God.
let me tell you, I
is a
didn't.
hindrance.
Brendan, let me tell you, I didn't quit porn to get to God.
Yeah.
I didn't quit
Yeah.
porn to try to get closer to God. God just happened to like what I did, and it's not even. And none of. All right. First of all, when I
That
say
makes it sound like an entity.
when I
I
say
don't think about it like that.
when I say I do kind of think of a personal God too, but I also think God is an entity. But anyway,
It's hard
listen,
to
listen.
not
Let me fucking finish. All right, like I'm just saying when I fucking say I'm spiritual, and it makes me back to what you were saying about like what they're about like looks and like how you have to like dress or whatever. Like I feel like the more spiritual I get, the more I want to try to blend in. The more I want to look like everyone else, so I could get into normal conversations and kind of just eventually be like, because like it's not that I want to
One
like
in a crowd.
it's not that I want to like push spirituality on people. It's just like once I found the soul within myself and my own spirit, I'm curious about other people's spirits. And once I like found it within me, I started like looking at people with that clarity, and I realized like not everyone, but most people's spirits are buried underneath a lot of dark shit. And it's not like I could see aura or anything. It's just that it's not something you even see visibly. It's just something you just intuitively know, because if you know it within yourself, because first of all, you realize it was buried within yourself. So it's not like you judge people for it to be buried, underneath all that shit. Because
you're the same thing.
Exactly. If anything, you already assume it's going to be their true self is going to be buried under, because that's just how you were for so long, right? That's how I was for so long. But then once I cracked it purely by accident, I wasn't trying to find God or my soul or anything, but it happened by accident. And I'll tell you how. It wasn't because of reading sacred texts or looking at sacred geometry or doing psychedelics. It was having a goal that inadvertently, by accident, or maybe it wasn't accident, maybe it was divine fate, like it put me in a state where I was aligned in mind, body, and soul. It was the sword tournament. I was like, when I was like trying really hard for the sword tournament, I cut out carbs. That put my body in its like self-induced like sacrament state. And I was doing a lot of like religiously working out, and like training and practicing, never missing a train, and focusing on this task. And like people would hit me up to party, like fucking like like chicks would hit me up and whatever. I'll be like, no, because like I had something that
you gave up material, simple,
and not for
short-term pleasures for something bigger than yourself.
And it wasn't for God, exactly, because I made a promise to everyone. I said, if I don't get first place, I'm gonna shoot.
God is though. God is anything that you put above everything else. That's your God.
I guess so.
So if you're a heroin addict, heroin's your God.
Heroin will keep you alive if you sacrifice
Everyone
everything
has
for
a
it.
God.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a fucking atheist. You have a God. What is your God? Your God is atheism then. Your God is the idea that nothing exists.
Okay, yeah.
You have a fucking higher power. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. No matter who the fuck you are, if there's something higher than you and it's not you and you believe some bullshit,
Yeah,
but there's something.
so also this also goes back to what I'm saying about like how do you actually like help and heal and fix people like this? You can't go and yes, you see like you see that there's a soul
They
buried.
might not want it or not ready.
Yeah, you can't just go up to them with a chip like a pickaxe and just smash it and crack it open. That's not how people
Like,
work.
look in the Matrix when he pulls out of that pod, and there's thousands and thousands and billions of other pods of people. They can't just keep unplugged from that thing.
Yeah.
They'll just die.
Yeah.
They can't do it.
Yeah.
You need like it, and it's not because you're higher or more advanced than that other person. It's just nature decided it's your time to start thinking these ways.
But it's
and
not it's not hopeless and it's not completely mysterious because it is mechanical. Because
I believe in multiple lifetimes though, so
of course, yeah. No,
anything's
I do believe in that too. But I do believe that there is something to the idea of a global cracking, like where everyone's like egos start cracking at this like at a very fast accelerated rate. And I think this doesn't happen through forceful initiation between people. I think how it really happens is the more you accelerate it within yourself, the more you embody it within yourself, like the more you like develop good habits. You stop eating shit. You do less things that are bad for you. You have less beliefs that don't serve you or don't serve others. You have less ideas that are just harming you and just leading to harmful outcomes, right? And then you actually believe in your soul. You actually believe in God, and you actually say thank you to God. You and the only way to say thank you to God is you have to forgive yourself for all this is where shadow work comes into play. You can't spiritually align unless you are able to thank God for life. And you cannot thank God for life if you're still hung up over past traumas, past memories, past addictions, past voids that you can't fill, like things about your old material self, your dense 3D self. If you can't get over that, you can't align your soul. And it's a very simple process. It's not always easy, but it is simple. You just have to trust life. Like you have to trust life, and honestly, like you have to trust that life knows exactly what it's doing to all of us as an intelligent force, and it gives us exactly what it means to, exactly when it means to. And if you could find it within yourself, despite all the terrible, terrible, terrible shit that might have happened to you, and just say to yourself in your head, you could even say it with a bitter, sarcastic irony. It's like, yeah, okay, thank you, God, thank you, life. I trust you. I trust you that you're gonna make everything work out.
Sometimes.
I know, but if you do that, I swear it will get better after that. I truly, truly do. I mean, from experience.
You're putting that energy out of yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, thanks God, fucking asshole.
No, I'm saying even if you did do that, you can't. Even if you try to fake the sincerity of the words "thank you" or the expression of gratitude, it still works.
It still works.
It still works.
You think?
It's still. I 100%
I've done that a whole lot.
I 100% believe it.
Thanks God for the fucking learning and growing today, and the fucking thanks.
Yep.
I didn't have the feeling of gratitude.
Dude, if I was
I hated today.
If I was a dad at a table and there was a kid, one of my hypothetical children just said it in a weird sarcastic voice, I wouldn't care. As long as they said the words "thank you for this," I think that's good enough for me. That's really all it takes. Because you gave the energy. You made that sacrifice. You gave that inner energy to vocalize.
I can dig it.
I don't, because I think it's that simple. I'm not telling you be grateful on your entire fiber of your being. It's no, it's as easy as just saying thank you. Fucking thank you.
I do that every night. But a lot of times I'm that was so half-assed.
Yeah. No, I swear to God. And this is why
and I judge myself. I'm that was so half-assed. That prayer was half-assed. You didn't mean that shit.
No. I don't give a fuck. I don't just the fact that you did it. I don't care if you didn't fucking mean it emotionally.
I'll take that.
Because emotions aren't rational, first of all. Just because you don't feel it in sincerity, the fact that you did it transcends that. Emotions are not you. Emotions are just visitors. So even if you emotionally attach shitty feelings to your act of, prayer or thankfulness or gratitude or meditation, it doesn't fucking matter. Because what you did beat that emotion. The fact that you did it in spite of that emotion, that matters more. That's infinitely more meaningful. That's why it always works. People don't even realize it works. They're oh, thanks a lot. And then they walk away and suddenly shit just gets better after that. It's fucked up, but yeah, it's weird like that. It's very strange. It's very mysterious. I can't sit here and say I understand why it works this way, but it just fucking does.
I'm considering that. I am. Because I do. Just in AA, they kind of they kind of like, the prayer thing. You pray at every meeting, but like it's encouraged. Actually, it's like almost like this is what you do now, and like not every. I was there was some. Should I say this? Let me think for 1 second. Oh, I'm not giving any names. So I was at a meeting, and there was one older guy, and he was like, out of his son, and he was like, getting into drugs and stuff like this, and he's like, I don't know, like, nowadays he said that he saw something that said that the anxiety rates of people are way higher now. Like it went up by like 40 something percent within the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Like past 10 years. And he's like, these kids have no God in their lives. He's like, and he's like, and like this is coming from an alkie who obviously turned their will to a type of God, whether they believe it or not, because they were so fucked it in their life, And he's like, I don't like, what do they turn to when shit hits the fan? Like when things don't go their way, even though they tried really hard and planned for a certain outcome, and it doesn't. Well, what did they turn to? What do they do? And it was like astonishing to him that the idea that all these kids nowadays are atheists, and like, what do they do when they think I'm gonna do this and get this girl and get this, and then it doesn't work out? Where do they fucking go? Like, the sound in his voice was like almost like he didn't understand what a human would be able to. How they'd be able to live when shit like, I think life's gonna go like this and it doesn't, and they don't have like a, okay, God, I trust you, kind of like, honestly, to fall back on. They don't like, and I kind of got it too. I'm like, what did I do before I had a God? Because I'm like, as like, I don't know, it's like this just shit just happens. Like I couldn't deal with that. Like, and like it also makes me think like maybe people create a God because there's so many things that happen that don't make fucking sense and just suck for no reason at all, and we need a reason because it can't just suck.
I think a relationship.
So there needs to be like, oh, God's testing me, or this is, like maybe it's bullshit.
I think a relationship.
This is what makes me think in atheist terms sometimes. I'm like,
nah.
Are our brains just coming up with problems that we don't have any solution to because there really isn't one? Problems just happen, and we need to make some kind of divine fucking ultimatum for everything.
Don't cheapen it, all right? Like, don't contradict yourself.
It does, though.
Don't contradict yourself.
I'm thinking from the atheist point of view too.
Listen. Also, what I'm saying is,
it makes sense.
I think God.
Their ideas make sense.
I think, right? If God is real, right? If God, when it comes to a relationship with God, the way I think it works, I think it does kind of work romantically. It's a little fucked up. Here, let me explain. When you go chasing God, chances are you're chasing God because you're needy. And like, imagine like a needy guy or a needy girl chasing after you. They're chasing after you because their life is all fucked up.
They're gonna ignore you.
They're unhealthy. They're fucking, like they're desperate. They're in fear. They're in lack.
Good scrub.
They only got in that shitty position in the first place because they were so fucking ungrateful.
Listen, you're cute, but I can't date you unless you like have a job and like have like an actual fucking goal in life, and then you have to get better to get to a relationship
and
with
from
God.
And from your perspective, listen, let me finish. From your perspective, you're like, you know what? You're only coming after me because you're in a position. You're only coming after me now because you put yourself in a position where you fucked yourself up, and now you have to learn to get yourself out of it. Why would I respect you otherwise? I wanted to love you when you were lovable, but you literally took me for granted, took everything for granted, fucked yourself up, and now you lost me, and now you want me back. Fuck you. And then now it's up to you.
Yeah, but most people, God is like a parent figure.
But what does a good parent do except teach, like leave you to solve your own fucking problems?
A good parent, when you come to them for help and admit that you've done wrong.
No, you allow them to, you give them room to grow and learn from their mistakes. Otherwise, they're not living. They're never going to learn to live. Anyway,
tough love is required if the person is stuck.
Anyways, listen, you're deviating. All right, to me, it is more like that romantic aspect where it's like if you are unlovable, right? God isn't going to love you. However, if you make yourself lovable, not for the sake of God, but for yourself, because
God's love should be unconditional.
That is an act of love, though. Like, to give you love when you hate yourself is not a loving act.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. It's enabling. That's not good. Love can be just. Love can be just
somebody to accept them the way they are and hope for the better.
Love can be just as much of a toxic drug as anything else. You can go overboard with anything.
From a God, it's not a It's like attachment.
Yeah, because
love.
God is God, but are you God? No. Maybe infinite love for God isn't toxic, but for you, yes, it is. You're a human fucking being, Brendan.
Yeah.
You can't you can't embody unconditional love without getting vaporized. It's like I'll stab you in the stomach. It's, oh, I unconditionally love you. Stomp you in the head. Oh, I still unconditionally. No, like no human being can survive.
Jesus did it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
That's the only one.
Like human beings can't do that, but we could
He's
tap.
the standard. He's the gold standard.
But here's my theory. We can tap into it, right?
Forgive them, Father.
we could tap into it and borrow some power from it. That's how we get loyalty. That's how we get discipline. That's how we get patience. That's how we get these virtues, right? And listen, the more you align yourself in mind, body, and spirit, the stronger vessel you become, and the more you could draw in from that source. And the more you could embody, that's how you get blessings. And the mind, body, and soul alignment really has nothing to do with going to churches and doing all this external shit. It's really all you. It's if anything, it's doing less shit. It's doing less partying, less fucking around, less drugs, less drinking, less consuming porn.
Do you think a lot of the depression, anxiety is because people are more atheist leaning?
I don't want to say that, but it's definitely very plausible.
Because a lot of people, especially, I don't jive with evangelicals, because they'll be like a strict, like you need Jesus.
I love how like you always point to like the fucking most extreme example of this shit. It's like, oh, I don't drive with
because they'll strictly
What about the
say,
Catholics? What, you don't drive with the Catholics?
Unless you
what about the Protestants?
accept Jesus Christ specifically into your life, everything's fucked.
Yeah, we know the evangelicals are bad, Brendan. It's like pointing to like a tsunami and being like, that's a lot of water. Yeah, we know the evangelicals are bad, man. It's like they're like fundamentalist radicals, almost borderline. Except they have so much money now, we got to call them an institution. I mean, they have a lot of money. Evangelicals are like,
I ordered holy water once from one of those infomercials that was going on at like 3 a.m.
Honestly, first of all, I think you can make
I was addicted to opiates.
No.
That's what it's like. One of the things they do, like for like if you're a drug addict or if you go to rehab, people are going to push God on you, whether you want to believe it or not. And it's like, is that good or is that bad?
It's good. I think it's good.
Yes, but when you're down and out, you never had any idea of spirituality or religion.
You want to hear something fucked up? As an atheist, I truly believe your life could get so bad, you're gonna need God, or your life is gonna get way worse. Or your life could get so good, you're gonna need God, or your life is gonna get way worse. Because you are your own worst enemy without God. I look at it like when it comes to free will, for example,
it means you're almost like in a way agreeing with the mindset of the evangelicals that we're a fucked up society because we're not connected to God.
No, because it works two ways, right? So let's say you're of a person, let's say you're a junkie and you're poor and you're homeless and you got and like life just did not pan out for you, right?
Yeah.
If you believe in God's will over free will, right? If you believe in God's destiny and all that shit, you're not gonna get anywhere in life. You're gonna be fucked up forever. Like you're never gonna do anything with your life at that point. However, because like if you're a junkie and you're homeless and you believe in God's will, what are you gonna believe? You're gonna believe God wanted you there. You're gonna believe God wanted you to be a fucking junkie, right? No. Just let me finish. However, instead of doing all those mental gymnastics to convince yourself it's not that, if you believe in free will, where if you're an atheist in that situation, and it's like, no, there is no God. I got here because of me. I got here because of my decisions and my shit. And the only one who's going to get me out of it isn't God. It's my will. Okay, so I'm saying, right? You practice free will to get to that point where you pull yourself out of your shit, right? And life gets slightly good. Better than it was when you were a fucking homeless junkie. But you still believe in free will. You're still hanging on to free will. You're like, I could do no wrong. I pulled myself out of homelessness. Why shouldn't I trust in my own instincts? Why shouldn't I trust in my own impulses? It was my own instincts and impulses that got me out of that fucking hellhole, right? So whatever I'm feeling now has to be the right decision, right? And suddenly they get more and more money because that's what, practicing a little bit of that self-control got them. And suddenly they're in a more stable place. But then an opportunity comes up. This is where the devil comes in and says, hey, you know what? A couple of the boys and I were gonna go to the Philippines and bang some hookers, or we're gonna go to Thailand or go to Mexico, do some naughty shit.
An opportunity.
And you want to do it because why wouldn't you? It sounds like a good, as far as your body and your mind goes, this is a good fucking time. These are work friends. These are people that I spend every day with. And this is like, something that normal people apparently do. They party. Why shouldn't I do this? Why shouldn't I have a great time and go out? Like I got myself this far. Why shouldn't I reward myself with a great fucking time across, like borders? And then they do that and suddenly they do some shit that they can never, ever, 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 ever take back. Like maybe they accidentally kill a hooker. Maybe they accidentally bang an underage hooker and get caught. Like maybe they accidentally smuggled something that they weren't fucking supposed to. Maybe they got pickpocketed, or maybe they got their organs harvested. Like whatever the case may be, it was once again their own impulses and their fucking shit that got them there. However, what if when life is good, right? Before they even left for that trip and fell for that opportunity, what if before all that they said, once life started getting good, it's like, wow, life was really bad for me, but now it's really good. But why me? It couldn't have been my decisions and my impulses, because my decisions and my impulses got me fucked up in the first place. Something was different. Something else had to bring me here, and it wasn't me. It was something else. And I think that's the right way to think, because
that's how people in recovery talk.
Yeah. Because that's how I feel. They
don't say, "Oh, I got sober on my own." They say, "By the grace of God, January 12th was my last drink.
Yeah.
By the grace of God and only the grace of God that I'm sober today." They don't give themselves credit at all. A lot of them will be like, "By the grace of God."
Well, because when you're sober,
God removed the obsession from me. God did this for me.
No.
And I'm grateful, and I try to pass that along. People in recovery do not believe they did it themselves.
Because I believe it makes sense. Like I look at it like this: if you're in recovery, life is going good. That means you're fucking sober. So when life is going good, remember, you give it up to God. However, when you're in that alley puking your fucking guts out, next to some person you don't even fucking like, and you don't know what city you're in, you're like, yeah, I can't pray myself out of this. I'm just gonna have to use my own fucking will. Get the fuck up, get a fucking bus ticket home, dry the fuck up. That's not
unless they have a foxhole prayer where please God, I don't know what to do.
But I'm saying that's not God's will.
That's still a humbling act.
That's not God's will though. At that point, that is literally your will. You're the only one who can get yourself out of that fucking alleyway at that point. At that point, God's like, no, that's all you, buddy. I'm not touching you, dude. Look, you got piss all over you. You're puking in some fucking place. You don't even know where the fuck you. Get the fuck away from me. And then that's when you got to be like, well, all right. Me and God aren't cool right now. I'm in an alleyway. I got to get the fuck home and dry the fuck up. And that's when you're all alone. And that's the dark night of the soul. And that's when you got to get the fuck up, get your fucking ass home, deal with your shit, then go into recovery again, then start the cycle all over, then get to a good place. And then you make that same choice. Well, do I give it up to God? Do I thank the grace of God for getting me, for keeping me here? Or do I just reject God all over again and just reset that cycle? And God's like, we could do this over and over again. All you want, buddy. We could do this cycle again.
We got 8,000 lifetimes to go, buddy. Don't worry.
Exactly.
We'll figure it out along the fucking way.
Exactly. So this is why it makes sense. I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. And this is how.
But also, that's talking about a God like an entity, and that also doesn't make complete sense to me.
What do you mean as an entity? Isn't anything an entity?
Like a personality, it has a form like we do.
I never said
and it's hard to not do. As a human being, we're gonna personalize a God. We're gonna personally make it like it's a person.
Okay, so when I say when I said the romantic,
that's why Jesus drives with so many people.
When I made the romantic analogy, like how I said, oh, God will look at you like the fuck. The truth is that the way our romantic dynamics is actually reflecting something even higher in nature, which is polarity, magnetism. Different north and south polarity attract each other, right? But then when you have the same polarity, it's going to reject. There's concepts with magnetism, and if you understand your own frequency and in terms of what you're projecting, kind of works like magnets, so that's what I'm saying. It's really even the analogy itself is just an analogy ultimately of something higher than that, which is more reflective of the divine nature of God, because there's nothing new under the sun, right? Whether it's love, whether it's fucking
I don't like
finding
the fact
God,
that
whether
my
it's
brain is more spiritually obsessed and spiritually minded than my actual mind wants to be spiritual, and that's a problem for me, because I'd rather sometimes stay in ignorance and not know about these things.
Well, this is the point. This is the sticky point I'm at because like I'm like uneducated, you know, because like right now been getting to the point where I've been like coming into contact with like people with like degrees in philosophy and shit, and I've gotten to a point where you just raw intuition alone, I've been able to like get to like similar.
Philosophy is not fucking complicated. These people are talking out their asses. A lot of them are talking out there. I've read a lot of philosophy. I was really like, if I go to a bookstore, that's my, it's religion and philosophy, which are for some reason next to each other, which says a lot, actually, right? Because then that means they're kind of counting religion as a philosophy.
I think it's.
I remember in Texas, you had religion, and a lot of it was Christianity books, and then the next aisle was philosophy, and it had the Bhagavad Gita and Buddhism. I'm like, oh, so you're gonna call your thing, the Jesus shit, religion, and you're gonna call the other thing Eastern philosophy rather than religion, which is what they did in the bookstore.
Well,
and I'm like, this is funny because I actually believe in this shit more than I believe in the Christian shit, but you're calling that religion and you're calling this philosophy as if it's up in the air, even though these people blatantly in their book saying, no, this is the way it is. But as an American in a Texas fucking state, in Texas, the bookstore said religion, and the next aisle was Eastern philosophy. Not Eastern religion, Eastern philosophy. Not Eastern spirituality, Eastern philosophy. As if it's just an idea, which is very telling, It's all just a fucking idea. It's all philosophy. Religion is philosophy. I'm sorry. All of it is. You're philosophizing about something that's ineffable, something that you cannot possibly describe or explain. It's philosophy. Religion is a type of philosophy. It's a way of living. But I think most people can agree upon it. That's the one thing that gets me about it. If it was just philosophy, I'd be able to dispute some of the spiritual laws. You kind of can't dispute intellectually a spiritual law. You can't be like, do unto others what you'd like to be done for you. Oh yeah, fuck that. They're wrong because of this. They're not. There's no wrongness in that statement. I wouldn't want this done to me. I shouldn't fucking do it to you. That's impossible to dispute. So there's something different about certain religions. A religion that's, you cannot philosophize and work your way intellectually around it. Like, you shouldn't steal. I can't come up with an excuse intellectually for that. I could come up with a bunch of scenarios oh, I had to do it because I was going to starve or some bullshit. That's just an excuse. There's no logical way to work your way out of the commandments. You shouldn't kill. You shouldn't steal. You shouldn't fuck somebody's fucking partner or whatever the fuck you want to call it. These are immutable laws that we can all agree on. There's no person that's no, fuck that. You should be able to steal a little bit.
Damn. It's like when you know I'm about to say some shit, it's like you just start saying more shit on purpose.
That's called talking. That's how it works.
No, it's not.
That happens all the time to me and other people.
Nah, it's I don't know. I'm surprised more people don't tell you to shut the fuck up.
It's because instead of listening to me, you were thinking about what you wanted.
Because you were fucking rambling for 15 minutes about the fucking 10 commandments. But anyway, what I was trying to say is agree with you. First of all, I was trying to say that, yeah, I think at some point, there's really nothing worth reading except for the sacred texts. Because everything is just a rip off of that ultimately, right? What you were just describing, those immutable laws. Yeah.
You have definite ideas of good and evil.
Yeah.
Whether you're religious or not, whether you are an atheist or not, you know that this is wrong and this is right. So it's almost you don't fucking need the commandments. It's ingrained.
Put it
somewhere
this way.
Deep down we know that this is fucked up.
What do you let's say you enjoy literature. Let's say you enjoy books, fiction, right? What do you think is going to make you a better writer? Reading all these redundant, watered down derivatives of what's ultimately the sacred texts, something that we all agree on as humans, or the person who's just going to look at the sacred texts and write stories based off of those immutable laws, create entire universes off those immutable laws, right?
Well, yeah, if you think about it, the hero story
It's
and every
literally, yeah, it's a sacred
yeah,
text.
it's just it's a sacred text. It's just the battle of good and evil,
Yeah.
and then like there's always the pitfall that the facing oneself. You know, like every like who's the author? What's his name again?
J.K. Rowling.
No, that's Harry Potter's just another hero story.
Of course.
Star Wars is a hero story. So is the fucking Epic of Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh.
Yeah, like it's all the same fucking story.
Yeah.
It's everything. The hero is comfortable, la la la, in happy land, and all of a sudden, holy shit, what the fuck happened? And then they get set off into another chorus where they have to like get pushed out of their comfort zone and then deal with something, find out about a new type of threat and a new type of power, and then they're on their way to get this new power and they fuck up. They fail. There's always the resistance of the calling. There's always a, I'm not doing that. I'm staying here.
I'm fucking bitches on my
Yeah.
island. I'm a fisherman.
I'm not and then there's like, oh, Luke is like, oh, wait,
We killed your girlfriend.
they're both fucking dead, so I might as well. Here, Obi-Wan, oh, I want to be a Jedi. He's like, yeah, of course you do, because your
You
parents
got
are
nothing
dead.
left.
You have nothing left. What are you going to go trade power converters with fucking, like, fuck you. Your life sucks. And then they go off and then they fail. There's always a failing. There's always like, oh, I got this new power. I'm going to use it. They're like, don't use it yet. They're like, I'm going to do it. They're like, yeah, have fun with that. Spider-Man's the same fucking way. I'm Spider-Man. I'm going to do the holy shit. I fucked up my uncle's
Every
dead.
martial arts movie.
You know,
Every martial arts movie's like that too.
like Spider-Man. He's like, I'm going to use my
Spider-Man is
powers
not
for
a
this.
martial arts movie.
Yes, it is. He wrestles that guy, and then his uncle dies. It's like
a kung fu movie, like Spider-Man.
And then he has to use his newfound martial arts skills to actually fight bad guys and be selfless in a way. It always ends with them discovering a new power, facing their own darkness, becoming selfless in some way, and using their powers for something good, rather than, you know, trying to go into wrestling matches and win and make money. He became Spider-Man. He could have just stayed just every once in a while making a couple $100 in a shit wrestling match. Even though Spider-Man, like, this whole time, like, that's what I like about Spider-Man. He has to work like a fucking shit job like the rest of us while he's Spider-Man.
Honestly,
So, like, he's fucking Spider-Man, but he has to deliver fucking pizzas and take shit pictures for the fucking Post every week.
well,
pay his
okay.
rent.
So I have a couple of things about that. Like with Spider-Man, in the beginning, in the early days of Spider-Man, it makes sense. You know that he has to work shit jobs because he has to keep his identity a secret. I get that. However, it doesn't make sense later on in the thing. They fix that. For example, when they add the Avengers and they add crossovers, because then Spider-Man was living in a world where it's like there was already like an authority amongst superheroes, you know? So it's like Spider-Man was still considered a street level hero.
He joined the Union.
Yeah, he joined the Union, yeah. He
So
joined the
it's
Union.
just a lesson to everyone. Just join a union. Get the health benefits. Pay your union dues.
They'll keep your secret identity secret.
Keep your secret identity. You just gotta, you know, every once in a while, Superman, the douchebag, comes around, collects union dues, and you have to fucking pay him the fucking $50.
It's Iron Man.
Even
or
though you
something.
worked that week and it should be your 50, you pay him because you get fucking Medicaid at the end of the week.
I like how
you know?
Iron Man. They even have a capitalist superhero, which is Iron Man. Captain America is a conservative superhero. Who's the liberal superhero? I'd say Spider-Man is pretty liberal, or they're trying to make him in the new movies. I don't think he's that conservative. He's like
Spider-Man
a he's a Queens guy.
If it wasn't for being Spider-Man, it was just a person who sucks at life. Actually, it's like he can't get the girl. He's too nerdy, but not nerdy enough to get himself a good job. He's just a shit person. Actually, a lot of those superheroes. Imagine if they weren't. Look, what their life would be. It's just be like, imagine being Clark Kent, but the sun didn't give you powers. You're just a fucking alien living on this planet, and it just sucks. That's it. That like you can't lift anything big. You can't fly around.
Yo,
You're just fucking an alien, a complete not a fucking country. Like you're from another planet, and you're trying to pretend like you were born here, and you're just a shithead. That's it.
Yo,
you know anything
yo,
else?
do you know what my superpower is? All right, we on the fucking B-roll.
Yep. Skibbity. I've been trying to talk in Gen V Alpha. Gen Z. And it's been kind of funny. to fuck with my little sister about it.
I don't know. I mean, I think even Gen Z's kind of over Gen
Like
Z shit.
supposedly, like Starbucks was like, you know, like letting people go because people have been taking food and shit like that. I'm like, oh, let me get this straight. These soy boy these soy boy betas have been trying to collect that phantom tax and been acting sussy when they're being called out, and they need somebody who understands the assignment. And they're just like, I can't believe you actually use those words right, and they're like upset with me. And it's funny. I just like fucking with them.
Well, I'm not impressed, but you know, I'm proud of you though
Why?
because you feel good about it.
I just want to be as ridiculously Gen Z speaking as I can. I just want to be able to use the full vocabulary and just be a cunt about it.
Why?
It's just silly. I think silliness is a very important vibe,
I think
and I think it transcends every other fucking energy in the universe. I think silliness is the ultimate, like funny, like humor is the ultimate energy. It transcends love.
Well, honestly, based on my analysis, I believe you feel that way because you must have had some childhood experiences, particularly traumatic ones, that only got better when you acted silly and people had like a funny reaction to it, and it made the vibe and the atmosphere a lot more healthier and conducive for a child emotionally.
Like laughing at
And that kind of
something
conditioned
is so
you to
fucking-
that kind of conditioned you to revere the acting silly because you view it like cerebrally and viscerally as something that could just like diffuse tension. Is, oh shit, things aren't working out, Brendan should just act silly. Oh shit, people are mad at me, Brendan should just act silly about it, because that's like your defense
Not
mechanism.
gonna lie, that has worked.
That's your
Yes,
cope.
but it's not just a cope. It's like even like, okay, the first thing Buddha did when he became enlightened was laugh. The first thing that's ever happened to me when I had my first shroom trip and went through like a psychosis and broke through it and came out was it was like a full, like, the hilarity of it.
Yeah, but listen, I'm not trying to focus on the silliness,
think
but I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to
is
focus.
humor.
I'm trying to focus on the purpose of that silliness and the purpose of that humor, and your purpose for your silliness and humor is acceptance. Primarily, you use humor and
Humor
silliness.
is acceptance.
Well, I'm saying you use humor and silliness to
If you're laughing at something, you're accepting it.
yeah, so you lean into it really heavily
But
because you
it's
have
involuntary.
So-
I love that.
because you have an involuntary need for acceptance.
I like the involuntary, like, not. It's not just that. It's such a fucking pervasive energy. It could come out in so many different ways, but it's like laughing at something and finding humor in something transcends any other emotion, because like there's a lot of things you can give emotion to, but you could tell like I'm giving
You know what?
emotion to this because it's giving me this.
You know what?
You don't know what that humorous thing is actually giving you, other than you just find it fucking hilarious.
You know what? I think like
I think finding something hilarious is the most hilarious thing ever.
what's really funny is
Finding something that might not be funny to me. If I see somebody else laughing at it, I find it fucking hilarious.
the
The idea
I
of
think I
finding something
finally-
hilarious is funny.
I think
as
you
fuck
just
to me.
I think you just helped me realize, finally made me understand what, like, my biggest criticism with that mindset or that mentality, honestly.
so judgmental.
No, it's like I never knew, but now you helped me understand it. It's because I have nothing against it, honestly. I don't think there's anything wrong with being silly. I don't think there's anything wrong with being funny. However,
Being serious is the ultimate ego trip.
shut the fuck up. Stop trying to defend something by criticizing something else. It's not a way to do it. Anyway, let me finish. I really think like, I mean, I support silliness and I support humor, but I mean, as far as like, yeah, it's my own bias that I didn't understand, because there's one thing I know that's true, but that doesn't make silliness any less valuable. Like, I know that truthfully, the most powerful form of like making a situation better isn't silliness, it's gratitude. But the thing is, like, I can understand I can understand why people's egos would rather divert to silliness over gratitude, because silliness, you could still be the silly guy, you know, you still get to preserve that part of your ego, whereas
like, it's not as sincere.
Yeah, whereas because gratitude takes it's a big sacrifice to be sincerely grateful in a bad situation. Whereas it takes a little less of that, to be silly in a
You're
bad
right.
situation.
Okay.
Whereas because I'm not saying silliness is bad. I'm not saying humor is
I
bad.
get what you're saying.
I'm just saying,
completely.
I finally understood it's not that I ever had a problem with silliness or humor. It's just I didn't like how people were copying that out
But
when they should be going to gratitude. But I think there is a time for it.
Humor has a lot of different dimensions where gratitude kind of shoots high in one direction.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
one emotion where humor can take a lot of
It's
different
complex.
facets.
It's more diluted than gratitude. That's the thing.
It can be.
Yeah.
But you can also have that same well, I guess anyone who's ever eaten enough mushrooms would be like, you can have the same gratitude and humor at the same time. And the gratitude at the humor is like, oh my god, it's a big joke that was just made from a punchline for me.
Yeah.
It feels like this beautiful moment to where like the whole universe has conspired to play like a joke with you, and you're just like, holy shit, no fucking way! Like I'm taking all this shit so seriously, everything's so deep and important, and all of a sudden the universe just unlocks itself and just goes, we're just having fun, baby.
Yeah, how about this?
Exactly. It's like this beautiful
but the thing is,
oh shit.
But when I'm talking about mastery, I'm saying if you truly master not just gratitude but also silliness, then you could fuse it together in really fucked up ways if you so choose. So you could practice both. For example, if I told you a joke where it's personally, I'm thankful for abortion because if it wasn't for abortion, you know how much more poor colored people we would have to deal with. That's a fucked up joke. You're practicing gratitude, but it is pretty fucking funny.
I don't agree with the joke at all. But it was so bad that for a second I giggled. But that's a low form.
But it's still but it's still complex enough to actually count as funny. It's
no. But I think sometimes humor for me I feel like when you're young, really young, you laugh at poop and fart jokes, right? And then you get a little bit older, and those are silly and childish to you. And then you get into more sophisticated types of humor and jokes, and then you get into fart and shit jokes again.
No, I don't get into
and
fart
it's hilarious, but from a different dimension of that it's so juvenile that it's funny, that it's that immature and still funny.
I think for me, when I like humor,
that doesn't make sense to you.
No,
no, that doesn't make sense to you though.
What do you mean?
I mean the idea that something it's funny when you're immature and then you mature and it's not funny, but as you mature even more, you realize how funny it is because of how immature it is. Because of how stupid it fucking is to laugh at a shit or fart joke. It becomes funnier after you pass that stage. You're at the third stage.
Nah, I think there's funnier things that I like to look at. For example,
you still can't find humor in slapstick and bullshit sometimes, just because it's so fucking juvenile and so it's just so yeah. You find it funny because it's just so immature. And it's immature from an intellectual perspective because the people making this are also intellectual type of people that are making a joke that they know is immature just for the sake of being bleh, and they know it's funny because of that. It's not that they can't come up with something better. It's not like a punk band that just sucks, so they have to play that shitty song. It's like a band that can play a lot better, but they want to make that vibe just because they acknowledge it. I
don't know. I mean,
there's so many different flavors of humor.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's not my shit. I don't care about it.
Do you get? And I know a lot of other people get this. Okay, it can't be that it's only me, but every person I meet in my life, I have so many different things that I laugh at nowadays because I've met so many different people that laughed at different things. There were a lot of things in my life that I would have never thought was funny until I hung out and became close to somebody who thought that particular thing was funny, and then I got it because of the way they laughed at it.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then I developed their sense of humor through them. I've done it with you.
Sure.
There's certain things that with nobody else I would have thought was funny.
Yeah, I would just say a racial slur and he'd be like,
yeah. It's not funny with anyone else. But for some reason, and even at the first couple times you did it, I'm I don't know how I feel about it. And then after a while, I'm I get where they are getting this is hilarious, and I start to that's like the biggest thing for me is understanding another human being and their personality is understanding their sense of humor, and that's one thing I know for
Okay, so
a
then
fact
how would you
that I
define-
can read everybody's sense of humor.
How would you define my sense of
I
humor?
could. What do you mean, like with words?
I mean, you just said you could get to know anyone's sense of humor. Like,
Yeah,
how would you
I
define
know
it?
your sense of humor.
How would you?
And
how
I
would
know
you-
how to vibe with yours.
How would you define it,
I
though?
know how to
How-
vibe with,
like,
but
how would
your
you
sense of humor, like some of it doesn't vibe with me at all.
I'm just saying, how would you define it?
It's very crude.
Is it?
It is. It
How?
is very
How
crude.
is it crude?
It's crude. It's trying. It's almost like you don't believe it or not at first, and then it's like it's dark. It's dark humor.
No, it's you know what it is.
It is very
First of
dark.
all-
No, yes, it is. Your humor is very fucking dark.
Sure, sometimes it is, but I'm saying that's not the point of it.
If it's not your humor.
So in my
Whether
view,
you think it is or not.
listen,
your
in my,
humor is
listen,
dark.
let me explain it. It's probably more complicated than you think. In my view, right?
You don't have a lot of lighthearted humor.
What, like poop and fart jokes?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm like
Then
other
what? Like
lighthearted-
slapstick jokes?
No,
like what?
just-
You want me to trip
Just-
on something for you?
No. See,
Like-
see, right now, automatically you jump to judging.
No, I'm saying like that. What do you?
Because that's what you think about your own humor, huh?
No, I'm just because you're not letting me explain it. I'm telling you, like I'm trying to tell you.
It's
You're just trying to talk over me at this point.
not
you know?
at the expense of anything or anyone else. Just pure silliness would be lighthearted humor.
My humor's at the expense of everyone.
It's not like poking at all.
My
It's not
humor's at
poking.
the expense of all of humanity.
And I don't mean poking fun isn't a bad thing. I don't like. I love that shit, and it's hilarious to me. And if you can't stand a little bit of poking fun at you, that's something you need to look
Okay,
at.
so here's what I think about humor. All right, my view on humor is that it is very useful. It is a golden opportunity, and it's a very, very, very.
I think it's the
Listen,
point of
can you
life.
just let me fucking finish talking, dude? Like, please. Like, I'm asking you because you keep interrupting.
You're right. I'm sorry.
All right.
Last time I felt you interrupted me a lot, so I'm sorry.
All right. So, my view on humor, right, is that I think it's very useful. I think it's a very useful way to engage with subjects of topics of conversation that wouldn't be appropriate in a more serious, like, conversational context, right? If we were having a serious or sincere conversation, there's certain things that is just not apropos to talk about. But when you're in a humorous context, then it's like open season. Because if you get it, you know, if you're a smart fucking person, then you can keep the fuck up and you wouldn't take it so fucking personally and you could joke about it. So to me, humor is a chance for us to talk about taboo things without actually talking about it. It's like, oh, don't you just love it how X group of people does X behavior that we all just know they do, but we can't talk about it seriously. Otherwise, we would be branded as X kind of bigot. You know, like shit like that. Like that's why humor exists to me. It's like a pressure valve. It's a chance for true honesty because you can't. That's the point of a jester. That's why the jester in history had the right to talk as much shit as he wanted to the royal family and shit. It's to me, it's more important than just like poop and fucking shit jokes. To me, humor is like an integral part of our shadow, of our collective shadow. Without humor, we wouldn't have a stage to be able to talk about the things that we're literally on a material world not allowed to fucking talk about. We're not allowed to talk about racial differences. We're not allowed to talk about fucking gender differences. We're not allowed to talk about fucking bigotry. We're not allowed to talk about like prejudice views. However, on a stand-up set, on a fucking joke or like on a joking context between boys or whatever, we're allowed to say these things. We're allowed to joke about it. We're allowed to treat these things as not like fucking Voldemort curse words. That's why you fucking interpret my humor as dark or crude, just because I happen to fucking have honest humor that a lot of people don't want to fucking talk about. They'd rather just revert to the same old childish, innocent shit and loop back and regress into childish shit, which is fine if you want to do that. I engage in that too. I like poop and fart jokes as much as the next guy, man. But I'm just saying, humor is a lot more than that. Humor is a very, 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 very important thing to our collective psyche. That's what I'm saying. Okay?
Yeah, of course. But what? Let me talk for a second. So what you just said, you talked about a lot of beliefs and trying to talk about beliefs and things that people.
I'm
can't
talking
say.
about history. I give you
no,
historical
historically-
references. I give you
Listen,
fucking
like,
real
let me
world
speak. Let me
experiences. I
speak.
give you real
Let
examples.
me speak without interrupting for a moment, please.
Okay.
So you said like there's certain beliefs and that people don't speak about enough, to use humor as a way of breaking through those
I'm
barriers.
saying you can.
Yes,
and
you
people
can.
don't
Yes,
enough.
you definitely can. Yes, but that's like the way you
If you let
spoke
them
about
take that
humor.
away from you,
No, the way you. For me, silliness and humor is not a means to an end.
I never
It's
said
an
it
end
was.
in itself.
I never said
It's just for the fuck of it.
I never said it was an end or a means to an end.
You made it seem like it was a way to get somebody to believe a certain ideal or believe a certain way.
No,
or
it's
think
the-
a certain
I said,
way to think
yo,
like you.
I said
It
the
seemed
analogy.
Like it was a means
Brendan,
of like.
I said shadow work. You know what? I'm not saying as a means to fucking get
Not
people
just shadow.
to.
I mean,
Dude, Brendan,
humor for
Brendan,
the sake
listen.
of just being funny.
Okay, what happens?
Because it's
Brendan,
just life is
all right,
just
all right,
fucking
all right, all right.
silly.
I never disagreed with that. First of all, second of all, what happens if you don't let them do that? What happens if you don't let them be funny? Something really
I think nobody would be able to survive
listen,
without humor.
Exactly.
I think we'd all be dead.
Exactly. We kill ourselves. This is
We
what
fucking kill ourselves.
And that's what it is a means to an end then.
So you're saying it's just a survival mechanism?
Well, I'm not saying it's just that, because we could add as much meaning as we fucking want to it, as our heart
I
desires.
think it means everything. I think it's
No.
to me it
I'm
seems
saying-
like one
I'm
of the
saying-
most important things in the universe.
I'm saying it's
actually.
important, but I'm saying the only reason why you think it's the most important thing in the world and in the universe, because that's a you thing, because of your own history, probably, and your own development.
I
your
think
own
there's
biases.
a cosmic giggle.
I don't think
If it's all novelty in the
Brendan,
first
Brendan,
place,
come on, haven't you learned by
why
now?
wouldn't that novelty
Brendan,
be humor?
Brendan, haven't you learned anything by now? Anything you think is the most important thing in the universe is probably not the most important thing in the universe. You know I'm right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh fuck. I'm all like just fucked up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, no, I mean, we're having. This is why
That's
we
it?
have. This is the purpose of these talks. This is why, because, like, dude, we're different
So
versions.
I'm just completely mentally just bonkers.
No, motherfucker. No.
And my idea of life is just if shit's funny enough, it means something.
Well, I explained to you why. It's because you're the one that told me when I was a kid. And
I'd rather that be the truth. That it's all just a funny novelty. It's just for shits and
then
giggles.
live that truth.
Because, like, it's the seriousness of it at the end of it. It means little. Doesn't it mean very little? Like, you can take this real fucking seriously, but you're gonna die. And like, no matter what you accomplish, like even if you're famous, you're still gonna be forgotten.
Yeah, obviously.
Nothing lasts ever.
But no, there's one thing though. There's one thing that lasts. You know what it is? Your soul. Our soul. Because we have we're the same soul living different lives in different bodies.
And I believe in this, but at the same time, we're still talking spirituality. And I'm trying to say, like, to the humanity who doesn't believe in God.
But then let's try this. Like, do you believe you have a soul, right?
In a way, yes. I don't know what at this point.
Do you believe?
I don't know
though?
if it's like. I don't know if it's the force. I know that energy can't be destroyed or created.
Okay, so I said hypothetically, right?
I wouldn't be upset if which is probably the truth, my consciousness, as Brendan thinks he is, disappears completely, and it's almost like it never existed, wouldn't be a big deal.
Okay, we could try. Listen, here's an experiment. Let's try this, right? Let's imagine God is just something metaphysical. We can't perceive it ever.
So
listen,
impossible.
Listen. And it's made of like pure unconditional love and everything else under the sun, whatever.
We call unconditional love.
So then our souls are just water droplets. So it's within us, right? That little tiny essence, that little tiny spark of all infinite
we're
light.
using the analogy of water condensation
or sparks, divine sparks, right? And it's
Water-
in both of us.
No, we think about the God as the ocean and condensation as your soul, and it becomes a raindrop and forms back to the ocean.
So ultimately,
go back over Star Wars.
So ultimately, we are
into the living.
We are
force.
the essence of the same being, pretty much, or the same entity, or the same thing. So,
Yeah.
So what if, right?
That means it doesn't.
What if,
fucking matter.
what if, as we talk to each other, we're able to say like, oh, instead of it's not Chris addressing you, it's the same thing that's in you addressing you. It's like. We could start talking, like if you start talking like that to someone, then that's like, I don't know. I think you get a lot.
The reason we both are humans and both live on the planet is because we're both made of the same fucking molecules and dust and shit. So really, we're the same fucking shit.
Exactly.
It's been exploding for so long and forming different shapes and shit, and like
Fractalizing.
It's fractalizing,
Yeah.
and like it seems like very very different, which we are. We
Yeah.
are very different, and
In enough
many-
fractalizations, yeah, you
with
become
many,
very alien.
Many mental, material, physical, everything way.
You know what I think also a
These are
possibility.
not the same fragment.
I think
at
a possibility
all,
could be like, could you imagine, not to personify an entity, but an entity of everything might feel lonely. And what if they felt so lonely, they're like, I'm gonna break myself into
That's
two.
why people believe in God. It's lonely being a lot. Being an animal, I think, might be different. We don't know. Like, I wish when I was a kid, I always used to wish I could like when I have a pet, like a dog or a cat. I always wanted to wish like if I could become it for like a couple minutes, because I wanted to know like, did it think the same thoughts as me? Like, I wanted to know what it thought, and like, it doesn't seem like animals have existential thoughts. I don't know. I'm not a fucking scientist, but like, I'm around a lot of animals. I see a lot of animals. I like animals. I don't think they think about, and I don't know what that would be like to live a life without thinking existential thoughts. Like, why are we here? Is there a God? Imagine living a life just food, fuck, and that's it. And just, it's never like came across your mind. One night you're trying to sleep and you're like, what happens after you die? And you're just like, what the fuck? Why am I alive? What's the point of all this? Why is this happening? Like, they don't have to deal with that shit.
Oh,
That's crazy.
So you're sad. You do. Are you envious of that?
Sometimes, yeah, because I'm like, I have to like wake up and be like, I'm a fucking animal. And I'm like, wait, what's the meaning of life? Am I on the right spiritual path? I mean, what the fuck am I thinking about? I should be thinking about food, but sleep. That's it. But I'm like this fucking animal that's like taught to believe like, you have to turn your life to God. I'm like what the fuck am I doing on this planet? Like, I should just be one of these other fucking creatures that are just like eat, fuck, sleep. That's it. That's like really all you need to do.
So you don't really identify.
That's really all you need. But we add all this shit to it. Like, but what's the point of my life? To eat, fuck, and sleep. That's really nature's point for you. Everything else, you're just coming up with shit.
There's something deeper than eating, fucking, and sleeping, though.
I hope so.
There is.
Because
No. I mean, scientifically, there is.
Because everything in humanity is just more complex versions of eating, fucking, and sleeping.
No. It's all of that is what you describe: eating, fucking, and sleeping. That's a cycle of energy. That's circulating energy. That's exactly ultimately. It's all if only you had like this like sense where it's
But
like,
if you come from God and you're unlimited to begin with, why would you be here in the first place?
what do you say? What does that have to do with energy?
That wouldn't, like, religiously, that would mean there's some kind of mission. You have to accomplish something or grow into something or learn something from this. It doesn't seem like it's just shit and giggles. But also, I feel like I've dug too deep into dogma the last many years of my life. And that's why I'm going to just take a hero dose of psilocybin mushrooms and shut the fuck up. Because when you take a hero dose of psilocybin mushrooms, you have no choice but to shut the fuck up. And that's what's going to happen to me. I'm going to try. I'm going to fight it. My ego is a bitch, and it's going to hurt. It's not going to be a smooth, delicious, great stream trip. It's going to be a horrible experience to me, and I know it. But somewhere I need to die.
Yeah.
Something part of me that
needs to die,
knows what it fucking knows, needs to fucking go, and it's strong, man. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna be like, I surrender, and the shroom's gonna be like, no, bitch, you didn't surrender. I'm like, no, I surrendered. It's like, no, but you're trying to surrender, which means you haven't surrendered. And I'm like, what is that even like? It's gonna be a horrible experience to me for like 3 hours at least. I'm gonna go through like
3. Try like 7. Do it on an empty stomach.
No, you break. No.
Do it on an
empty. Enough.
I dare you to do it on an empty stomach.
If you take enough, you can't fight it. So it worked. Like, people like, I'm just gonna take it and do not ever take a little bit of magic mushrooms. That's like saying I want to go to the next radio station, but I'm gonna just turn the dial halfway there so I'm hearing like fuzz and like bits and pieces of like each station.
That's a pretty novel idea, actually, because I kind of believe in binaural beats. It affects you subconsciously. But yeah, go on. I know what you're saying. You're right. Like, why waste it? You know, might as well go all the
No,
way.
you're going to be confused.
If
And
you're gonna,
disoriented.
if you're gonna get what,
you need to lose what you were there, where you were.
if you're gonna get wet, might as well go swimming.
You gotta die.
Yeah.
You have to die.
Yeah.
I don't understand what people like think is a party thing. For me, booze and like coke and drugs and shit is like a woo.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah,
not like a full fledged like a haunted house
shrooms,
trip.
It's
Like,
not a fucking. It doesn't count as a It's not recreational. Even when I've tried to do it recreationally, it wasn't a recreational experience.
I mean, people do microdose now.
It did what it fucking wanted to me. I don't know. Maybe I needed it at the time, but I think it saved my life at certain times. But I just gotta kind of die.
You know what's gonna happen? I think like the shrooms are gonna like come into you, right? And through the shrooms, like you're gonna like see God, and God's gonna talk to you. And then once God talks, like you're gonna be fucked up at this state, like really fucking gone, and God's gonna start talking to you, right?
It's not gone. You're more there than anyone else on this planet. At
You're
that
right.
Point.
You're gonna be really somewhere else, kind of, and here, whatever, at the same time, non-duality. But anyway, God's gonna talk to you.
You're fucking tripping right now, actually.
Yeah, God's gonna talk to
shrooms,
you. God's gonna talk to you, right? And then even after the shroom trip is over, I think God's gonna still talk to you. And I think at some point, God's gonna be like, "Now look in the mirror and say, you are God. God is within you."
I don't think this is what's gonna happen. No, I don't think I can think what's gonna happen.
Maybe I'm hoping that's what happens. Because what else can you expect to
It
happen?
doesn't really matter what I fucking think.
What else can you expect to happen? Like,
I love it. Like, you know, do you have a controlled substance? Makes sense with like certain drugs. Like, I know if I have this many beers, I'll be this drunk. If I do this many lines, I'll be this high on cocaine. Shrooms are not a controlled substance because it doesn't matter the dose. Sometimes it's just what it plans on doing with you at that moment. It doesn't just like, oh, this releases this amount of dopamine. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna fuck with you. I think do what they want. It's like they have a mind of its own. It's like it's not like a controlled like thing I could take and like I know this is gonna make me feel such and such. It's never like that.
what if it's more like your subconscious? First of all, your subconscious is always active, but your conscious mind always like tunes it out. But your subconscious is still working its magic in your reality crafting, right? When you do shrooms or when you're in certain states of like altered consciousness, like whether it's through extreme like physical strenuous activity or like extreme trauma or pressure or whatever, like you could get into some states that could just randomly push you in the state where you are tapped in purely with your subconscious. And it's going to look very different whether it's done through stress or substances or like events like near death experiences and shit. But when you're tapped into pure subconscious, you might as well be in contact with God, because that's not of the rational mind. It's not something that you can observe like emotions. It's nothing to do with your body. It's something external. It's something that has a lot to do with our consciousness.
It's not when it happens though. It's not external. It's so in there.
Yeah, but that's because you're connected to it. It's not that it's external.
Yeah, it's not any different than you at that point.
It's not
but
external.
It is. Like if I'm talking in logical terms, it is different than you, but it's not. At the same time,
it's non-duality.
It's so fucking
it's non-duality.
It's you could pray to it and be like worshiping it, but
it's still within you.
Not. But you're also not worshiping yourself. It's also not an egotistical worship.
The key factor is
it's like it's you and you are it, but it's not an egotistical like I'm God.
You know what I think?
It's not the same like people when they think like I'm God think of like the egotistical sense of it. It's not like
there's a reconciliation here. So the truth is, imagine your observation or your attention as like a beam, like an invisible beam of energy. And I'm not like you could like close your eyes or look at something completely different, but paying attention to something completely else. I'm saying that, like, let's say I'm looking here and paying attention to the screen. That beam is going to go there, while my eyes are going to be pointing there, right? It's like a beam. And if your eyes are like, if you're focused on what you're looking at, like both like my line of sight and the beam are going to align, right? So I think that beam is like literally like subconscious collapsing probability into itself. So it's almost like literally your consciousness crafting reality. So when you do stuff like things that alter that beam, not that's not your line of sight, because that's the illusion. Like your line of sight a lot of times aligns with that invisible beam of attention, but there's like ways to like divert it where like I could be looking at you, but my invisible attention beam could be pointed at the future or the past or something.
You want to know
like,
what I'm scared of?
what?
So, I had one shroom trip. I went to my friend Patrick's house. I was riding my bike around. And I started tripping hard, and I went to his gate, and I'm waiting for him to come out and open the gate. And a minute felt like an hour, and I felt like myself pissing myself, and it was like warm and wet running down my leg. And then he let me in the room, and I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I felt it. It was dry. I'm like, okay. And I went into it, whatever happened afterwards. But later on in life, I did have bedwetting problems. I also had a shroom trip after that one, maybe before that I was walking through the Tottenville woods to the beach, and all of a sudden I went blind, like with my eyes wide open, and I was blind for like a minute. And I'm like, I can't see. My eyes are open. I can't see anything. They're walking me, Dave and someone else. I forgot who else. Alex, maybe. And all of a sudden, he lit his phone, like, light on. And all of a sudden, I saw, like, a little pearl of light. And it just went... And lit everything up. And I got my vision back. But now I'm losing my vision. My eyes are getting blurry from the diabetes. And I'm getting black spots in front of my vision. I'm like, holy shit. Is that shit coming through? Like all the things that I like foresaw in shroom trips. Like kind of like how fucking how am I losing this name? The Doors. Jim Morrison predicted his own death during a peyote trip.
Well, I think it's like, again, like the funny thing about your subconscious, it knows things that it shouldn't. Like, you know how they say, you ever heard of gut feelings and intuition and all that, where it's like, I just had a bad feeling about going, like we shouldn't get in that car or something, and then you don't get in that bus or whatever, and it gets into an accident and it's fatal. It's like that you could have died if you went on that bus.
How come God didn't warn all those other people
exactly
who died in that accident?
No, maybe.
I love how people are just like, God's looking out for me, and not a second crosses their mind. No. We're like, wait, what was God doing with the rest of those people on that fucking train?
Maybe it wasn't God. Maybe it was like
they must be fucking heathens.
No. First of all, maybe everyone has access to this kind of like gut instinct. It's just how open you are to it. Like what frequency are you? Like what's your internal frequency like to receive your how open are you to your subconscious? And it makes sense to be closed off from your subconscious. For example, if you have to work like a really high stress job as a stockbroker or some shit, you are not going to want your stockbroker coming in and say, hey, remember that one Door song? Or hey, remember that one time we went to Six Flags? Or hey, remember that one ex-girlfriend who sucked your best friend's dick? Or hey, like that's the type of shit your subconscious will do to you. Like it'll just give you not good or bad shit, just random shit, whatever, any given, it doesn't care. The subconscious is just random like that.
Wants to say some shit.
But what's crazy, it's very, 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 very powerful. This is the stuff of your dreams. This is the stuff of magic. This is the stuff of shamans. This is the stuff of intuition. This is the stuff of gut instinct. It's crazy. It's like, this is what animals run on. Animals don't run on logic and like, heart and love shit. No, animals run on into the subconscious.
They remember shit though.
Because the subconscious knows everything. These are the things that you know instinctively. This is what I'm saying. It's like, all right, so when people, like, no one's going around asking each other, how do I improve my life? Because we all know the fucking answer already. Well, like, get plenty of sleep, exercise, don't eat fruit that's fucking bad for you. No one really needs to hear this shit because our intuition already fucking knows all of this. Like even people you don't teach this to, I feel like they kind of already deep down know this stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of pointless to tell people.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying. Like
It's like the 10 Commandments. It's
no,
like,
no,
you should
no,
know this.
But the purpose,
just being alive, you should just
no,
kinda
the
fucking
purpose,
know
but the
this.
purpose
Don't do
of, but the
this.
purpose of telling people this is because there are so many dominant forces in modern society in our material world that make us think the exact opposite things. There's literally forces like actual conscious entities that are trying to. You call them demons because remember, for everything that's holy and virtual, like the Ten Commandments, there's probably something just.
Oh yeah, they made them up for a reason, huh?
I'm saying,
yeah, there's some shit going on.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, just stop. Like, I heard that like people like man should not lie with another man. Actually, supposedly it was man should not lie with boys, and so that means, which we know this, those Greeks were fucking little boys.
well, those Greeks might.
And in the commandments, they're like, we gotta put this one down.
Well,
like I don't think they gave a shit if guys were fucking other
okay,
dudes.
so here's what I think. I think when it comes to like both positive and negative entities, we'll call them, like whether you could think of them as demons, angels, whatever, spirits. The truth about them is they exist whether they're real or not. No matter how you want to define it as real or what is real, they exist in the realm of the subconscious. You know, within the realm of our like that thing that just we're connected to. That's not us entirely, but it just knows
it just
everything.
comes from, I know that if I don't like somebody punching me in the fucking nose, I probably know that you don't like being punched in the nose, and I shouldn't do it to you. That's just simple.
Okay, for example, like let's say you're walking around
Or I don't hate you, so I don't want to punch you in the fucking nose. You know, so like, why would I do that? That's the commandment. Do unto others.
Yeah.
I can tell what I don't like, so why would I fucking do it to you? You know, that's the commandment. That's it. That's all you need to fucking know. Jesus said, "Do unto others" is the only commandment that rules all the other commandments. You don't need to all you need to know is if you don't want somebody to do that shit to you, probably shouldn't fucking do it to them. That's it. Just don't be a fucking cunt. It's so simple. Don't be a cunt. Would I like somebody to rob me? Fuck my girlfriend? Do it? No. So I shouldn't do it to them.
Okay. So,
And if I do, I am consciously making a decision to be a fucking asshole.
okay, so
And,
let me ask you
hurt
something.
somebody else.
Let me ask you something.
That's it.
Let me ask you something. How would you like? Let's say you had a nice job, right? You had money on you, and you had your hot girlfriend with you, right?
Okay.
And you were in a room full of 100 other people, right? And everyone in this room believed in the 10 Commandments. How would you feel emotionally? How would that make you act?
That's a weird. So I'm in a room
Yeah.
with their girlfriend.
Your girlfriend, yeah, she's hot. With 100 other people.
Okay. I don't know why that.
With 100 strangers.
100 strangers, and everyone in this room believes in the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, how would you feel like emotionally? Like, how would you how'd you act in that kind of environment?
I would just walk by and say hello.
You'd chill, right? It would be chill, right?
I wouldn't see a problem.
Okay. Now, how would you feel of being in that room with your girlfriend, right? And all 100 of those people didn't believe in God at all, let alone the 10 Commandments. How would you feel emotionally?
I don't think I'd feel much different.
Really?
Yeah.
You really?
No.
I don't know. I'd feel pretty different, to be honest.
I don't think I would. No.
I would.
It's just people. Same people.
Look, I'm not saying I feel worse.
It's the same fucking people.
I'm not saying I feel
same humanity. I don't give a shit what you believe in. You're the fucking person. You're a person. Same.
You don't give a shit what a person believes in, really? What if a person believed
You're
that?
still a person.
What if like 99?
I feel like people have the same fucking morals or not, whether they believe in religion or not. Because people that are immoral
listen, Brendan,
do the most moral things, and the people that are religious do the most fucking sinful things
but
all
if those,
the time.
But
it doesn't matter. It just matters on the individual.
But if you believe in the 10 Commandments, why would you deviate from that? You wouldn't, right?
You might.
But I'm saying if you believed in it, you wouldn't.
I can believe in a lot of shit and not fucking live by it.
That's true. That's a good point.
I believe in this and do the complete fucking opposite because I'm a human being that sucks. You know,
What is what is believing in something? Is believing in something just believing, hey, that's right, or believing in something is, hey, not only is that right, but I'm going to live by that.
believing in something. I think it would be just thinking that's right. I can say that's the right way to be,
Okay, so what
and
do you,
not be that way.
so what do you call it when it's like, I think that's the right way to be, and I'm going to be that way.
Everyone, like,
What do you call that?
nobody like the story of nobody is like Jesus.
No, I'm not saying
So
Jesus. I'm just saying.
anyone. No, I'm saying you or any Christian is not able to completely be like what they aspire, what Jesus.
I'm not talking about Jesus. I'm just saying, like, what if you pointed to like a set of qualities, like that's the right
Yeah.
way to be, and I'm going to be like that.
Christians would point at that set of qualities. That's the ultimate way to be, to serve God.
No, I'm not even
and
talking.
then not do
Like,
it.
let's start small, right? Let's say you believe like that, like a quality person should at least have good handwriting. I don't have good handwriting right now, but I believe that that's right. That's the right way to be. So I'm gonna have good handwriting. That may not be true, but
It
you
doesn't
believe.
mean you're gonna have good handwriting.
But I'm saying you go and try to you live for that. You actually try to embody that. Like, what would you call that? Would you? That's not. It's more than just believing something, right?
It's just believing something, but it doesn't mean you can aspire to it
Why not?
because you're human with limitations.
Yeah, but that really depends on what your beliefs are, really, and you control what your beliefs are.
You still have limitations.
What do you mean?
You always have limited. You're human. You're limited.
Yeah, I'm
You're
not.
in a physical body with emotions and all this other bullshit. You're limited.
I'm not saying you're limited by body. I'm not saying you're not limited by body. What I'm saying is you're not limited by what you could aspire to be. For example, let's say you're a paraplegic, right? And you're like, I can never aspire to be an NBA pro basketball player, but I can aspire to be the best paraplegic basketball player in the world, right? You're in control of ultimately what you aspire to be. And that goes like in every dimension, not just like the best at or the worst at something. Like literally there's multiple dimensions.
Yeah, but that takes wanting to aspire to a certain something.
No. I'm not telling you to focus on want or whatever. I'm telling you the fact that you have the power, that control of imagination to be able to think of not just a singular causality, but multiple possible causalities that could lead to infinite outcomes, and you're in control, you know?
What was the original question?
What about the room full of 100 people believing in the 10 commandments?
Yeah, I don't care. I'm comfortable with people. I'm pretty comfortable with people.
Yeah.
I know people. I understand people. I am people.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm good with people. I don't have that's why when you're talking about, going on disability, I guess I consider disability people to be somebody who can't function in a society where I know for a fact that I can. So it makes me feel dishonest if I'm saying I'm disabled, because I can get a job. I can talk to other people. I can communicate correctly.
Wait, what? You're just dishonest to whom, though?
To whoever I'd claim to be disabled enough to get the money from.
Yeah, but who is that?
I don't know. I was just thinking of.
What if they're terrible people?
So I'm just gonna leech off the government because they're fucked. Yeah, I'd always like to do that. But
What if doing so could vastly improve your condition of living and put you in a better position to actually not only help yourself but help others?
That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I was about to say like honesty is more important than getting that, but
helping others, because if you help yourself, you could help
you're
others.
Fucking me up now. Turn me to the dark side.
It's not the dark side. It's the gray side, the true side.
And then we shall have peace.
Yeah, no, there's always a middle path. I do always try to seek the middle path, and that's true. And I feel that's what mysticism was always about, because
just kill the Jedi, kill the younglings, kill the separatists, and then we'll have peace.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to, what's funny? You know how they say, like, with Jesus and his flock? It's the perfect metaphor. Religion really is for people who are, like, too stupid to understand non-duality. who are too stupid to understand that both good and evil reside in all of us, and you have to learn to integrate them. Like if you don't have the
If you're
intellectual,
one against the other, you're kind of
yeah,
fucked.
if you don't have the intellectual capacity or pattern recognition skills to see both within you and to see that it's not really about like trying to hold yourself static to one state of goodness and resisting one state of evil, like and learning how to like work through each to the such a fast degree by like elevation and ascension that it's you're basically one at the same time, that is non-duality. That is what it means to increase your frequency. Now, religious people are the people who like don't want to do evil, because that's what it means to do evil. It's when you're so caught up with like one state. So it's like they don't have the mental faculties to control their frequency, but they also don't want to do bad things. So this is why they're sheep and they have to follow the shepherd, because the shepherd is the guy who mastered non-duality. And this is why even if you're not even like, if you don't even have like any inclinations to be a Jesus or a preacher or any like spiritual leader, if you get it, people will eventually just start following you. They'll eventually start gathering around you. Like even girls, like, you may come across a time in your life when like girls didn't look at you, but then like you figure it out. You come to the realizations and then you're like, you live according to such. Like not only do you realize these things, but you successfully integrate them into your day-to-day life. And people could and you reek of stability. And eventually like girls start following you around and then you're like, sorry, I'm evolved now. Like, I mean, no, I'm sorry. Like, no disrespect to the ladies. It's just there was a time when I was like, I guess more in a need for like validation, and I guess I got a lot of that out of like sexual intercourse with more than a few different women. But like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like it really was just an ego thing, Yeah.
Taking my insulin, guys.
Yeah, Brendan's I'm sorry. I just got like totally sidetracked from what was I talking about? Were you listening to me?
Yeah.
What was I talking about?
Sidetracked.
No, before that. We were talking about non-duality and increasing your vibration, increasing your state from so you go from like good times to bad times quick enough where you could integrate them both one at the same time.
Well, in Buddhist philosophy, it would be more along the lines of like escaping that completely, because you're gonna keep going back and forth into it. But that leaves another essential thing for me. Like, so, like, wasn't the point to come into this life and like deal with the messiness?
I think one of the biggest,
like, all religion is about like getting out of this, right? Like transcending this.
I hate
Why
how you
the
ask
fuck
a
would
question.
we come here in the first place?
I hate it when you. It's so actually I don't hate it. It's actually really funny. Like when you ask a question and I'm like about to answer and then you go, "What the?" F-? I'm like, Jesus Christ.
What's the deal with airline food?
Yeah. So about what you were saying, I do think like just by if you take reincarnation as fact, right? I think like no matter who you're born as, a part of your incarnation assignment is to fix your family line. Because it's like building a highway. Like no matter what family line you're born into, there's always going to be something to improve. And without family lines, there would be no reincarnation transit.
Why does everything have to be about fucking getting better or improving?
What do you mean?
Everything, spirituality, seems to be like some like goal that you're not at. It seems to be like every point of spirituality seems to be like you're here and you gotta get there. It seems it's like a progression.
Well, it's a choice.
Yeah, why does spirituality in itself have to be some type of lesson, learning, and growing? Why can't it just be a thing in itself? Why does this all have to come to that we suck and we got to get better? Why is everything in spirituality about that?
Why do you have to look at it like
you're
that?
a fucking sinner and you need to turn to fucking God?
So Brendan,
why the fuck are we in this fucking place if the whole point is to get out of this fucking place?
Brendan, let me ask you something. Why does a seed grow into a plant, which grows into a beautiful tomato that you could eat and enjoy.
Because your mother uses ragu. Why does the seed become a plant?
Yeah, why does the seed become a plant?
Because that's what a seed does.
Okay, so you just answered your own fucking question instead of flipping out about it.
You're a cunt.
What? I'm serious.
yeah,
You just
some-
answered your own fucking question. You were like, oh, you're
Just
throwing
because
your,
it does. That's it.
throwing your arms up. And then I ask you
So
the
that
same.
means like the meaning of life is just because.
So then enjoy it, you dick.
But then it isn't about enjoying it. It's
Says
about
who?
transcending it.
Wait, says
or
who?
blah,
Who's,
blah, blah,
wait,
blah,
so
blah,
who
blah.
says it's not about? Who says you can't transcend and enjoy it? Says who? Who told you that? I want to know. Where did that thought come from?
Well, enjoying it would be attachment.
So, what's wrong with that?
Well,
First of all, what's wrong with attachment?
that goes against most tenets of any religion.
Am I religious? Are you talking to a religious person? Are you religious? I'm not religious. Are you religious?
Well, that's where spirituality and our ideas of spirituality come from.
That's not my idea of spirituality. My idea, the only thing I've ever preached to people regarding spirituality ever, no matter who the fuck you are, no matter who the fuck I'm talking to, I'll always say the same exact thing is if you want to get right, align yourself in mind, body, and soul. I don't give a fuck what that looks like to you. I don't give a fuck what you believe in. I don't give a fuck what that means to you. If you could figure that out and learn to apply that successfully to your own life experience, align yourself in mind, body, and soul. So those three aspects of self are not at war with each other. If you do that, I swear to God, things will get better. I don't care if you gear that towards global domination or becoming the richest person in the world or becoming the most. I don't care what your fucking personal goal is. All I care about is that you align yourself in mind, body, and soul. And that's as far as I'll ever get to preaching spiritual like values. Really, that's all I give a fuck. 10 Commandments be fucking damned. I do not give a flying fucking fuck. What I do give a fuck though.
You shouldn't kill and steal, though.
What I do give a fuck about is people literally aligning themselves. And I look around the world. When I see the biggest problem, you think I see, a problem with morals, a problem with class consciousness, a problem with not having enough Medicare and not having enough fucking electronic junk, not having enough of this. No, fuck no. I look around and I see people that are unaligned. I don't give a fuck what your personal goals are. They could be purely evil. They could be purely good. It doesn't really fucking matter at the end of the day. What does matter, okay, I'll put it this way. I cannot judge how you live. I can only judge how much you fucking complain and bitch about it. That means you're a fucking failure. I don't care if you're the most evil or saintly person in the world. If you're sitting there and fucking bitching and complaining, you're a fucking failure no matter what good or what evil you're trying to commit to. You're a fucking pathetic piece of shit, so fuck you. All right? If you're a good or evil person, I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to help you to your goals, which is to align yourself in mind, body, and soul. So your mind, your body, and soul are not fighting each other. Your mind has to have the right ideas and beliefs that aren't bad for your body. Like, for example, you can't listen to your mind when it's telling you to eat shit. You have to listen to your mind and command it to tell you to eat good things and tell you to believe in the right things. For example, when your mind tells you to be an atheist, tell it to shut the fuck up because it's fucking wrong. All right? You do have a soul. And when your mind tells you to like eat McDonald's 8 times a fucking day past 8 p.m., don't fucking do that either. That's also fucking stupid. This is what I'm talking about. That's just the mind. The body too. You have to master the body. When you feel like doing all these fucking nervous tics, fucking control that shit. You can. It's in your power.
Some people have Tourette's.
I know some people have Tourette's. There's always whatever. But like, you can't jerk off every fucking day to porn. You can't do that shit. There's all sorts of shit that you can't not exercise every fucking day. Like, stop being fucking retarded with your fucking body. You know, that's all in your control. If you treat your body like shit, you can't complain about your shitty fucking life to anyone. Your body is integrally connected to your experience in this fucking life. So for you to sit there and talk about, cry about, oh, boo-hoo, my life is so bad. Meanwhile, you don't exercise a day in your fucking life. Go fuck yourself. You're a fucking failure. Like, you're failing to see that your actual self. Like, yourself as in you're not your body. You're not just your mind. You're not just your soul. You're everything. You're the interconnectedness of all of it. And it's your own fucking fault for like especially as a fucking adult. Like, we have the internet. This is all the. I didn't make any of this shit up. This shit. There's different variations of this in every fucking religion, in every spiritual tradition. It's literally like screaming at us every day, and yet we choose to ignore it. No, I'd rather play Ubisoft games. I'd rather fucking jack off to porn. I'd rather fucking eat my body weight in spaghetti. Fuck you. It's all in your own fucking control. It's all in your own shit, and you're the one that's taking it for fucking granted. Like, seriously. Anyway, that's my rant. Self-alignment, everybody. I don't care if you're a really good person or a really bad person. Self-alignment. Mind, body, and soul, so they are working together, not against each other. And you're not going to do that by being an atheist, and believing that, I'm just a random collection of molecules and random cells, and I'm a fucking monkey and blah blah blah. I'm just an accident of evolution. That's fucking whack. Lame. You're not gonna create shit with that fucking mentality. You're just a fucking monkey at that point. All right. Second, you can't treat your body like shit. Stupid. Don't fucking do that. Stop actively destroying your fucking body like an idiot. Yeah, sure, it's just a physical vessel, and it's nothing compared to the vastness of infinity. Yo, this is your one shot. This is the one shot the universe gets to experience itself through you. Don't fucking waste that by destroying the one vessel it needs to do that. And you have to believe in your fucking soul. If you believe you don't have a soul, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Like, it's not even a matter of emotional incompleteness. This is intellectual incompleteness. Like, you're not going to have the mental clarity to learn new things if you don't understand your soul. If you don't understand something can move you besides just animal urges and instincts, and without like a desire to seek deeper meaning in things. So, yeah.
You can have little spaghetti. It's a treat. Little treat. Don't listen to them about that spaghetti. Eat all the fucking spaghetti you want. I don't give a shit.
Whatever.
I'm not judging you.
Do whatever you fucking want. All I'm saying is, like I said, I cannot judge how a person chooses to live their life. I can only judge by how much they choose to fucking bitch about it.
Or you can not judge.
Oh, what do you mean not judge? Oh, so I'm not going to judge like a dangerous situation. 8 people died here, so I'm just going to walk right in. Yeah.
That's one of the addictions. Yeah, you haven't been able to admit to. Yeah, you like judging. You have a judging addiction sometimes.
I don't think you're in any position to judge other people's addictions, Brendan. You're the one with the fucked up like situation. Remember,
everyone has addictions, buddy.
Exactly. So then, why can't I have my addictions? Remember, my addictions don't command me. Yours do.
Everyone's addictions command them, buddy.
Okay, my addictions don't destroy my fucking life. Yours do.
You don't know, really.
Dude,
nobody knows how bad their life's
Brendan, we just had a 5-episode special about how you're battling your fucking insane alcohol use.
Yeah, but also that's judging shit has harmed me more than anything.
That's not judging. That's literally an observation. That's an objective observation.
That's also a judgment, though. It can get bad.
I didn't say it was good or bad. I said it's literally that's what it was. Like, don't fucking try to rewrite actual reality.
Relationships.
What?
It can ruin relationships.
About what?
Anything.
Exactly. Anything can ruin relationships too much, yeah. I mean, so far, listen, I know not to judge people based on my own biases. Again, I never judge a person how they choose to live their life.
Everyone judges everybody based on their own biases.
Listen, I do judge people, but I just told you how I judge people. I don't judge people by how they choose to live their lives. I only judge them by how much they fucking complain about it, Brendan. By how much they bitch about it and cry about it. Oh, my life sucks. Yeah, that's how much I judge their life. Like, I know some people that have, like, literally they make 7 figures a year and they're perfectly content. I know people that make 8 figures a year and they can't stop bitching about their fucking life. So it's like, what does that tell you, man? Like who's really living the better life? The person who's making less money but actually enjoying it, or the person who's making, like, honestly a lot more?
It's definitely. It doesn't matter what you fucking have,
So that's the metric I judge on. It's really not about what a person has or what a person's doing.
It's how successful people killing themselves all the fucking time.
Exactly. So are you saying my judgment is really fucking irrational? No, I think I have a really clear and rational sense of judgment.
Everything's rational from a certain point of view.
Right. Anyway, why are you gonna try to chop me down like that, man? Why are you gonna try to chop me down in front of all the people?
I make one kind of Curtis going on. Fuck you.
If you're gonna make
I
a
can't
criticism,
speak freely.
if you're gonna make a criticism, at least make a good one and not a fucking weak one. Like what? You're gonna talk about my dick size? It's like, yeah, I've seen your dick. It's not. It could be bigger. I've seen bigger dicks.
We all know everyone's dick could be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's what Pat told me. You remember Pat Novak? He was like, if I was black, I'd play guitar a little better, and my dick would be a little bigger.
He's a pretty good guitarist.
He's a very good guitarist. He's a very good guitarist.
Yeah, I don't want. No, I'm not going to talk about that.
Why? He didn't do anything. He's not a bad person.
He
Like,
said some crazy shit to me.
what is it? Like conservative stuff?
No, I'm not. We're done with this.
Okay. Well, have you? I mean, speaking of conservatives, have you ever been in a situation where you ran into an old friend, and like you last time you hung out with them was before like the Hillary Clinton election, and then you hang out with them like years later after that, and suddenly they're like talking about all sorts of like crazy shit.
Yeah.
You're like,
I don't know. I don't think Mark would care if I said this. But like, I start texting Mark and he'd call me a cuck and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? Why is he using this word cuck?
have you? Okay, so let's be technical. I don't know if you're a cuck, but have you ever watched another man have sex with a girl that you were going out with?
That's like a painful thing, not a turn on.
I mean, have you ever? You never did that, right?
No, that's not a turn on for me. That's like I don't want to see somebody fucking somebody I want to be with. No.
So you're not a cuck.
So yeah, that's not a cuck.
That's
That's
not a
the
cuck.
opposite of cuck. That's
Yeah.
like don't do that to me.
You're right. I don't like. I don't like. I don't like the.
So
I don't.
Not a cuck.
I don't like the inaccurate use of the word cuck. I don't like. I don't like. I wouldn't call a regular coward a cuck. You know, like.
I gotta pee again.
All right, let's take a break. All right, so we were talking about cucks, and Mark used to call you a cuck.
Yeah, he used to just use that word willy nilly, but I'm not.
He used to say you were paused too.
What was that?
Paused.
What does that mean?
Paused means like super liberal. Like you're so liberal, you have AIDS. You have liberal AIDS, so you're paused. You're positive for the lib AIDS. Paused.
Well, so Mark's a cunt.
Yeah, but Mark is doing great. He's a dad now. He's got a
He's
beautiful.
doing great. I love seeing his pictures with his kids.
He's got a beautiful baby. He's the first one out of old hyenas to get a baby, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't
Yeah.
really know much about. I don't think Jimmy had.
Honestly,
kids.
out of everyone in the band, like Jimmy was the ladies' man, but Mark was the real romantic. Mark was the real like.
He invited me over to his house. He said if I ever want to go out there and hang out with him.
Yo, I'll take you there if he invites me too. Tell him.
You want to go stay over there?
Yeah,
with
I
him?
want to go say. I want to go hang out with Mark.
See his kid.
Mhm.
That's cool.
We could bring our bikes maybe and ride around there.
Yeah. No, it's cool. No, me and him have always like argued and bitched about shit together. So like, I have no problem saying shit like
Well,
that.
Mark's like brilliant. Like he's actually a really,
He
really,
is.
really
He's
smart
always
dude.
been like, you know, I met him. Well, it was third grade. We were sitting there, and I didn't like what snack I had. And I looked over at his table during snack time at his desk, and he was eating Munchums. And I went over and I stole his Munchums. I kept stealing his Munchums every time I saw him with his Munchums.
He's such a dick.
And then eventually, he invited me to his house. He was a shy kid. He didn't talk to anyone. He had these,
Maybe
like,
if I offered food, it'll come into my
foreign,
house.
Like, Polish parents and stuff.
I was like, look, I found this thing. It started eating my food.
We just started hanging out, and I remember he played a game with me called When he said it, you want to play Ballerina Toshidon? I'm like, and to me it sounded like ballerina.
Battle
Toshidon.
Arena.
Yeah, I did, but I'm like ballerina Toshidon. This sounds fucking gay as fuck. Okay, whatever, dude. And I'm like, there was like a fighting game. And I would always jump off the stage and going, "Oh yeah, you weren't gonna beat me. I just wanted to kill myself," and just not admit defeat.
I don't know. I mean, Mark was a man of even back then. He was a man of culture, I guess. Shit, he was like high culture. He knew know about.
But during recess, the other kids would be playing like kickball, basketball, jumping around, playing tag, whatever. And me and him would just walk around in a square motion, just like side to side. and just walk around talking about shit. And just like,
Well, that's way more fun.
yeah, and we would just philosophize and talk about shit and talk about like
What do you
like,
think a
we do
pussy
this
feels
for
like?
years.
What do you think of a
Yes, you're right. You're right. That is a lot of the discussion.
I don't know. Maybe it's like wet. And
Yeah,
like,
it's gonna be great when we can get to junior high school, and then in junior high school when we get to high school, man.
we're
Oh,
gonna
it's
fuck.
gonna. You know what pussy feels like, dude? I read that. I'm sorry. I don't care what kind of dude you are. Okay, maybe if you're like really like LGBTQ gay or something. I don't know, but what kind of dude you are? You have that like. You have that part of your life that's like one of those like teenage shit movies, like in the beginning. Like there's one of those slapstick stoner fucking sex movies.
Dude, what do you think a pussy
made for
feels like?
15-year-olds?
I don't know, man. I heard it's warm.
Everything just about fucking pussy. It's all about that, and everything revolves around it. You don't know it.
Bro, my older brother said it's like slip and slide.
Yeah,
Your
you
dick.
just talk about what it's gonna be like, and then you do it, and it's like, oh, I thought it. Okay, here's my delusional mind. Okay, here's what's fuck. I thought. Oh no, I don't think I've said this to me. So I really thought that like there was like a magical like juice or something that when it hit your penis, it made it like more. So I thought it was different than like so. It's hard to explain. So like I thought it was like different than touching yourself. I thought it was not like it is, but it's not also like I thought it was like the magical chemical reaction that happened.
It is a magical chemical reaction that happens, though.
Yeah, it's very mental.
So you thought it was more literal back then, like more.
I thought it was like almost like how they talk about that dolphin juice shit.
It's hormonal, which is chemical, though.
It is, I guess, yes, but is that just mental though? You're with somebody else doing it, and it's like,
well, what's the difference?
You want to come quicker? I don't fucking know.
What's the difference if mental is a byproduct of your physical or organic brain?
I guess so.
It's all chemicals.
I thought something different. I know. I thought it was like gonna be a totally. I don't know. It was weird. I thought something weird about it. I guess when I was a kid, I thought something like different happened.
Like bad weird,
like
or
almost
good weird?
Like a drug, like almost like putting something like of a different temperature on your penis.
But that's true. It's not wrong.
It is, but it's not the way I thought it. It's hard to explain.
I mean, maybe that like the way you saw it was closer to the truth than the rest of us think it is. Isn't that fucked up? Like maybe your intuition back then was actually more true on a spiritual level than it is actually the way we look at it. Honestly. Like, like the Taoists believe that when you have sex with a person, like you exchange fundamental energies, which is why like
sometimes that energy is like
negative,
like a baby or syphilis
or sometimes that energy could literally be negative. It's like suddenly like you fuck a girl or a guy once and they'll start calling you and texting you every day, like complaining to you about their lives and shit and like their family problems, and you're like, what the fuck, like we just fucked once. Like that's
just somebody who had a lot of emotional baggage and they thought
Brendan, I'm not saying that's wrong. That's true. That's all probably true, but I'm also saying that energy exchange is another metaphysical layer that is also, it like runs parallel to that, but I'm saying this is higher, because it is like an energy exchange, and we do put a little bit of me and a little bit of you when we fuck each other. Like I'm just saying, like that's how people are. That's how people work. Like on an energetic frequency level, which is why like like all the spiritualists say, like real spiritualists, they say you should. I mean, when they talk, you said so yourself. You have to abstain or sacrifice something, like right to really gain blessings.
It seems that way.
Why do you think that is? It's not because the gods want you to give something up.
Because you're putting something before.
Yes. It's because everything
it'll become your god.
Everything getting in the way of a spiritual alignment or attunement or connection is literally your habits, the shit you do. That's all it is.
So basically, anything you put before God is your God. So what do you think about most during your day? That's your God.
Creation. Like creating stuff, making stuff. Like what am I going to make today?
That's your God.
Yep,
But
creation.
your God is you making something.
No, I mean just the idea of creation, like studying other people's creations, the idea of creation
That's
itself.
still you doing something.
Well, it's like me kind of trying to fill a void, you know, because I feel like I'm incomplete unless I go seek this knowledge.
Yes, that
Which is
means
my.
you're not full
I'm
of
not complete.
God.
No, I'm not. I'm not
You
enlightened. I'm
need
not
something in the material world to
Yeah.
give you. You need whether it's like
Food.
recognition.
Dude.
You know, like I know I like.
You know what it is? As long as I'm
I like
alive.
playing shows.
Uh,
You know what playing a show is like in front of a couple hundred people that are moshing. It's different with a punk thing because like you see the reaction of the music in the crowd immediately. It's not like it's like all of a sudden you do this thing and they're just like and it becomes like hey, it's like you're casting a spell on like 100 people and they're just like and like moving in a certain way. You know, it's like a
Dude,
magical fucking thing.
that's a form of creation. You're creating something that can't exactly be seen.
Yeah, but it also with the creation of your song that you've been playing,
Yeah.
it's just creating an atmosphere.
It's
and a
nothing-
thing inside of the humanity in front of you.
It's nothing short of magic.
It's like it's you're casting a spell. It's you feel like a fucking witch. You're like a fucking wizard up there.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you play in front of I remember that last Dock Street show upstairs, and it was like JoJo was sitting with the drums, and I'm like, I looked at the crowd, and I'm like, JoJo, look, and I just like we didn't need this on video or anything. I just remember this in the video of my mind, like me and him looking and just going, holy shit, and it was like 300-400 people, and it was just packed out the whole thing. I mean, just went. And we played and just watching it turn and just fucking like boil like a pot and just colliding with itself. It's like, oh, it's nothing's fucking better to me, I guess, in my life. Better than fucking any sex I've ever fucking had. It's playing a punk show and watching the crowd just blend into itself and they mosh and blend and just fucking bounce around with the music you're playing. Like there was nothing ever better than that. That's like the most like lifey, sensual moments I've had in my life.
Yeah, it's like a chemical reaction kind of.
It's better than anything. It was always better than everything.
No, you haven't tried everything though.
I tried. No, I guess I tried enough fucking drugs.
You never even tried driving a car. I think
I don't think driving a car is gonna be like, oh my god, what have I been missing my whole life?
It might be. I think it might be.
I'm enlightened now,
dude.
Oh my god, I found the purpose of my
No.
life.
No. I'm not gonna say it's that
Driving
far.
a motor vehicle
No.
like everybody else.
Like spiritual stuff aside, I think when you drive somewhere, I think what it's gonna look like this, like because this is the way it was for me. The first time I drove somewhere for no reason, like I wasn't going to work, I wasn't going to meet up with anyone. I was just driving just because I could. For the first time, like I got my license, I got a car, and I was like, I'm just gonna drive somewhere for the first time. And I drove somewhere by Moses Mountain, and like I parked up, and it was like super dark, and I was alone listening to my music because I was alone in my car, and I lit up a joint, and I just chilled there for a second, smoking alone in my car, listening to music for the first time, like doing that activity.
How old were you?
What?
How old were you
I think I was like 27, 28, something like that.
when you had your first car?
Yeah.
First time you drove, really, by yourself?
Well, first time I drove, I was like 23, 24, because I would rent cars out because I traveled like a lot. But yeah, I was the first time I had my own car, and like I drove. Well, I mean, when I drove out of state, I kind of had the same feeling, but it wasn't like having the car too. But like once I did it, I was like imagining myself anywhere I want in America. You know, I could be like, shit, I could probably go to Mexico. Like I could just drive. You know, like just get the fuck away from everything and everyone and just drive. It's a pretty freeing feeling, and like I don't know, especially when you're a kid growing up, like just taking public transit and cycling everywhere, and then suddenly you get a car and you're like, holy fuck. Especially if you get a car that could fit your bike, you know, that's another plus.
How old are you now?
I'm 32.
Shit. I'm old. I'm that much older than you?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Why, you thought I was that old?
When did I first meet you? When did we first fucking meet?
I don't know, I think I was like 16 maybe.
So I was 19? No.
Yeah, must make sense.
No.
Yeah.
You weren't around during the Dock Street early days.
No, I was. I just didn't go to the shows back then.
You knew everybody.
Yeah, I knew Mike and Skittles and
Where do you go?
what?
You would. You would have been. I don't know. Imagine what it would have changed if you would have went to all those things.
No, Mike was super into those shows, so that's how I knew about it, and that's how I met everyone, from the shows. But when I met Mike, we were all into graffiti. So that like while he was going to punk shows, he hung out with us, and we were like out at night, like doing graffiti all night and shit, getting fucked up. It was a good time.
Why wouldn't you go to all the shows?
But I did eventually, because like by the time I turned, because I met Mike when I was 14. By the
You
time
didn't really see the Lucky Thugs.
No, by the time I was 14, I met Mike and we were doing graffiti all the time. 15, we were still doing graffiti, but I also went to shows with him. I didn't go to Lucky Fuck shows until like 16, 17.
What year was that? What? We weren't even like barely doing shit then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's around the time. I
Well,
remember.
how did we meet?
Oh, probably at a party. I think we went to a Lucky Fuck show, and afterwards there was that party up in what's it called? Up in remember how we went from like I think it was Martini Red or Muddy,
Yeah.
or Muddy Cup or something,
Both same area.
and there was that long ass trek up Victory Boulevard, that hill, to go
Yeah.
to some girl's like big ass house, and she threw a party there. And then afterwards, like everyone like skateboarded down and rode bikes down.
I don't remember this. No.
Yeah. This is when Balls was still a band.
No. I don't even know how I met you. I don't really know how we met completely.
Well,
I remember a lot of times hanging out. I remember that one time I was in Miller Field and I was tripping on ecstasy, and you put on headphones and it was that hidden
Tool.
track of Tool. This is necessary.
what a good song.
Life. These I'm like, ugh. But then there was also you also put my headphones on and you played the audiobook of 48 Laws of Power. And I was like, I was tripping on ecstasy, and I'm listening to this shit. I'm like, this is the dark side. This shit is fucking evil.
Yeah, it is.
And years later I looked it up, and that guy actually wrote a book to counter that book, saying how that
yeah,
was
I read
like,
that too.
yeah. So the dark side is not more powerful. It's easier, more seductive.
But it's what everyone defaults to. That's the problem. That's why you have to know about
It's
these things.
easier, more seductive.
I'm saying like
It's easier to use the dark side.
Like,
It
let's say-
definitely is.
let's say you're a Jedi.
And you will get more power quicker using the dark side. Yes.
You know what? The biggest difference between Star Wars world and our world is that unlike in Star Wars, every human
This shit sucks.
unlike in Star Wars, every human is actually a Force sensitive, and we're just suppressed. Like by and large, like 99% of us are really suppressed on that level. That's really the truth of it. Is every
Well, that's kind of like how fucking Star Wars is, though. There's like a couple of Jedi, and then the whole fucking universe.
yeah.
There's like thousands and thousands of planets, and like a couple hundred Jedi.
Yeah, but
They were able to kill almost every Jedi in the fucking Order 66.
Yeah, but in Star Wars, it's like only a select few people can have the capacity to be in touch with the Force. But in reality, any
It's the
sentient
midichlorian count in their blood cells, which we also have a
spirit gene, a spirit cell.
we have a mitochondria, and people with more of those cells actually do better in sports and certain careers and jobs. So there might be a link behind the mitochondria or midichlorians in our cells and our connection to the outside universe and our ability to utilize it to perform better.
Basically, the Force is real, everybody. Okay.
Yes,
The Force
pretty
is
much
real.
it's fucking real. And some people, their cells, you're just fucked.
And
You suck.
And also,
You're
like,
gonna suck.
it's not that it's not that George Lucas made this up.
Force is not strong with you. I'm sorry, not
George
this lifetime,
Lucas-
buddy.
George Lucas literally ripped the concept of the Force from Chi. And we all have access to Chi.
Well, he's a Buddhist Methodist in his own description.
That's a really good combination.
That's a weird combination.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he understands energy because that's what Chi offers you.
But also being a Methodist, don't you believe in Christ?
Christ can be a guy that tapped into Chi, like a lot of Chi.
Yeah, I guess he's
Like, he's a guy that could have reached enlightenment, just as Buddha did.
I want to talk to him. He's such an enigma.
Christ or Buddha?
George Lucas.
Yo, what are you gonna do the day George Lucas dies?
I don't know. Watch something.
Well,
What else am I gonna fucking do? What's in my power?
go to his funeral.
I'm gonna go back in time, get the fucking DeLorean, and fucking save him. What am I gonna do?
No, we can't change the past. That's a bad strategy. Yo, by the way, guys, this combination of pretzels with Grey Poupon Dijon mustard is fucking slamming. Highly recommend it. Just dip the pretzels in.
As somebody who loves his you gotta get the box of the soft pretzels from the grocery store, in the supermarket.
Nah, I prefer grocery
Super
store.
pretzels.
I think grocery stores are
No,
better.
super pretzels. You put a little bit of warm water on them. You put some fucking salt, and it comes with a bag of like really rocky salt. And then you put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and you eat it.
You ever like put butter on it?
Super pretzels. You don't buy fucking boxes of super pretzels.
I don't know.
Everyone who watches this probably eats super pretzels.
That's not true.
It's in all the supermarkets.
So what? I mean, I like super pretzels. Don't get me wrong.
Look,
I love
you
super
pull it
pretzels.
out of the freezer. It's like they're like big soft pretzel things, but like frozen.
Yeah.
And you put your hand under the warm water in the faucet, and you
Coat it, tap it down, like
Yeah,
dab
yeah.
it down.
and then you put there's a bag of like pretty like coarse like salt, like pretzel salt, like soft pretzel
No,
salt.
I agree. And also,
and then you put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds, and it's like a fucking steaming hot, like beautiful, like soft and crunchy, and you can put it in the oven if you want to too.
Yeah,
And put it
yeah.
in like toaster oven,
you know what you could do? You could also dip it in
and you definitely want to dip that shit.
You could dip it. What most people don't do is dip it in maple syrup, but it's so good because the saltiness and the maple syrup.
Aw, sweet and savory.
Mm-hmm. Next time you get super pretzels, dip it in maple syrup. It's really good.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know what kettle corn was till I worked for the carnival. Kettle corn is like a sweet, like honey, like sugary glazed salt corn, popcorn.
Yeah, I mean
You pop them,
the classic
corn
trick.
them,
The classic trick is
you glaze them,
the classic trick is pour like
salt them.
M&Ms. M&Ms inside the bucket of popcorn.
Dude, what?
M&Ms inside a hot bucket of popcorn so it gets all melty. Like at the movie theater. You ever heard of that?
With your dick in it?
I was just thinking that too. I was just thinking about that.
That's gonna really hinder the moment. I wouldn't have to. No.
No, because I just saw this funny.
It's hard enough trying to trick him with the popcorn.
I just saw a funny.
M&M's mixed in there. It's just gonna confuse the whole situation.
I just saw a funny prank where it's like the guy tried to do that, and his friend was like, "Yo, bro, let me get some popcorn." He's like, "No." He's like, "Are you serious?" And then his girlfriend was like, "Yeah, come on, babe. You just tried to get me to eat the popcorn the past 30 minutes." It was like, "Yeah, let him have some popcorn." He's like, "No, I can't. And then he grabs it.
Whatever, man. It's okay.
What would you do? Would you just like play it off like nothing happened?
Yep. I don't give a shit.
Would you still take a handful of popcorn?
I'll come. I don't give a fuck.
Ew. No. I mean, as the guy, like, who with who reached in and took it.
That guy's never gonna fuck with you again. I'll be like, listen. I'll tell everybody that I came in your hand at a movie theater,
No, I mean if you were the guy that reached in the bucket and felt
and I'll have it on video.
No, what would you do if you were the guy that reached in and felt it?
You gotta, finish what you started, dude.
Really?
To be a man,
Really?
a real fucking man, you finish what you started, and you make it hurt too. You
Yeah.
do it like really, really hard, so they're like, "This hurts," but I'm gonna come at the same time. They're like, just confuse the fuck out of them.
Yo, you know what came out?
What?
That stupid Star Wars game where you play as like the brown girl Han Solo.
Outlaws?
Yeah.
It's funny I knew what you're talking.
Well, that's exactly what it is. I mean,
No,
I described it to a T.
I just want my Xbox back so I can play the Jedi Survivor. Because
I'm sorry.
I've heard them say it was a better story than fucking Jedi, the first one, and I'm like, no fucking way. That was like the best fucking Star Wars game I've ever played. It was so fucking good. Other than Knights of the Old Republic, oh my fucking god, that game was fucking amazing. Oh, and like I played it a little bit at first, and I'm like, I don't like this action adventure. So I really don't usually. And then I did. And it was such a good game, I had to keep playing. And it got me into a genre I don't like just because I love the game that much. That's when you know the game's good. When you're not into that genre, and the game itself is so good that you like that genre for that game. You know? That makes sense, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like how like the new Tomb Raider games are.
Except what they did to Elder Scrolls. It's not a fucking RPG anymore.
Meanwhile, games like Assassin's Creed are becoming more RPG-like.
Yeah, they're not, though. It's just the same Witcher, Skyrim bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Witcher's actually good.
Assassin's Creed should always stay what it was.
I mean, the reason why The Witcher is good is because it's unburdened by the character.
Yes, but Assassin's Creed should be its own fucking Assassin's Creed game. They're fucking perfect the way they are. Everything up till Unity, like Origins is a good game, but Assassin's Creed needs to be an Assassin's game.
Well, my favorite thing about Assassin's Creed is how deep the lore actually is. Like, if you're a layman and you're uninitiated into like what it's actually all about, you're gonna think, oh, it's about this. Even on a cursory level, you could be like, oh, it's about these people who could access ancestral memories of historical figures, like these assassins that were hidden.
The only reason they're doing it is because of the Pieces of Eden, and then you get into the Isu, which is the precursor race.
The Anunnaki, like they're literally the Anunnaki.
Pretty much, kind of. They're the ones who came before, but it's like this whole even
the Prometheans.
I'm just talking about the gameplay itself.
Yeah, but the lore is pretty fucking sick. Like the fact that
I like how they kind of kept the lore for the newer games, but they're still not Assassin's Creed games.
I think what they really leaned into is the mythology. Like what the assassins represent, honestly, in the whole ethos is they represent justified chaos. Like they paint how order can manifest as too oppressive, and a reflection of that is like clearly the Templar. Meanwhile, to disrupt that ordered evil, you need justified and chaotic good, which is what the assassins are. They're literally chaotic good on the alignment scale. So that's what I think Assassin's Creed is really about. They're trying to paint this
Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
Yeah. So, ironically, Assassin's Creed is actually a subversive franchise because it's literally painting chaos as the justifiable and force of morality and good. But what's funny is that it doesn't necessarily mean, like, wasn't there a game that shows you like you play as the Templars?
Assassin's Creed Rogue.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So
it's
like
cool.
the new system came out and they made two games after Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Assassin's Creed Rogue, which was on the old system, and Assassin's Creed Unity, which came out on the new platform. And they wanted to make two games at the same time so people who were poor could still like play a new game. So they like release a game every year or two for like a couple years.
Yeah. I think they were able to do that because they already had, it's not like they had to steal or make up like entirely new universes or anything. They were literally just ripping off of like ancient civilization mythology, and that just works because that reflects so much of our own like
Yeah,
current.
but the originals were like more actually historically accurate,
Only
and they
because
filled in the gap. So where there was a gap in history, they filled it in, and that's where they got their story from. So like we don't know what this person did during this time, so let's say they did this and this is what happened, you know,
yeah.
and they'll fill in gaps, and that's where they get their story from, and I like that about it. And it was historically accurate where it needed to be, and they
But
played around history, and they kind of like fucked it up, and they made it like this like RPG. You should not be able to make a decision because you're in the Animus. Your goal is to live the life of that guy as perfectly as you can to synchronize your DNA to find out what happened.
yeah,
That's the point of the game.
you're like an anthropologist or something.
Yes. That's how when it glitches, even if it glitches really, it feels like it's a glitch in the Animus. So it's like still like immersive, no matter what, because you're still like playing this like you're a person in a machine playing a role of a ancestor. That's why it feels so immersive.
I think what's interesting though, really, is like it's how I mean you're right. Like they do make it fit neatly with history because it.
But like even though you're playing a video game, it's like no, you're in the Animus. You're living as Ezio right now and trying to replay Ezio's memories as well as you can, so you can synchronize and find out where the artifact of Eden is.
Yeah, but I'm saying as far as the historical figures go, like this idea that the historic all these major historical figures were somehow inadvertently tied to these transcontinental like almost omnipotent entities that were just at war with each other between the assassins and the templars, and that works so well. And that works so well because if you look at like actual conspiracy theories and actual like you know traces of secret societies in history, like it fits, it all works, it like actually like fits in really nicely. Ubisoft is basically filling in the cracks in like of the Illuminati and the Knights of Malta and fucking all sorts of shit,
What Assassin's Creed games have you like played through?
that I actually beat. I think I beat the Greek one. Wait, I don't even know if I beat that one.
Oh, you gotta play through Black Flag. That's the best game ever.
Yeah.
I replay it at least like twice a year.
Black Flag.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it a multiple ending?
No.
Is it very neatly chronological?
Oh, it's fucking good. Oh, it's the best game you'll ever play.
So
Please
would you,
trust me on that.
so what you would you say you're a diehard Ubisoft fan?
No. Assassin's Creed, yeah.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed is kind of special. I mean, if anything,
The Ezio trilogy is fucking perfect. The first one is kind of feels like almost like a the first game feels like a fucking like a prototype, you know. But two And then the two other games that were based on two were perfect. So fucking genius. Oh, the best games ever. And then you had three, which is based in America with Connor. You're like half Indian, half white.
That was good.
And then you had Black Flag. Oh, fucking Black Flag. Oh, the best game I've ever played in my life. Other than Red Dead Redemption 2. I played through Red Dead Redemption 2 where the end credits ended and I hit start new game and just kept going. That's how good Red Dead 2 was.
What was your favorite moment in Red Dead 2?
I like the John parts. Spoiler.
The what part?
When you were John.
That was your favorite?
And at the end, when the music hits, dun 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 and you're going up the hill and you're shooting and you're John. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
unless you've played to that part, that's like there's an epilogue.
no, I beat the game multiple times over.
With John,
Yeah, we had to like finish off Micah.
the house.
Yeah.
You have to,
I mean, the last scene, which was kind of like, I don't know, the last scene, the last thing ever you see the game before the credits really roll is a tender moment between John and Abigail. It's like, well, we finally did it. Finally got our homestead.
yeah, but then right afterwards you see like the beginning of Red Dead 1,
No,
which is like they're like stalking you out and they're like, and Red Dead 1 starts with them, they find you and like we're gonna put you like we're gonna kill you unless you like kill these couple of people for
I
us.
just realized that's a fucked up thing that Rockstar could possibly do. Like as a DLC for RDR2, they just release a complete remake of Red Dead Redemption 1 as like a continuation of the campaign. They could do that if they wanted to.
No, but it's perfect. Red Dead Redemption is you as John Marston after all that shit years later. You get the fucking kid, your farm, your wife, but you're on a train and you're working for the government, and they're like, "Listen, you have your kid and your wife, and you're gonna do this for us, you know." And the whole game is you. The whole game is redemption. From your whole life in Red Dead 2, as John Marston, you are John Marston trying to like do whatever you can for this government official to try to make sure your wife and your kids and your farm and everything's okay so you can go back to your what you think you're going to go back to your normal life. And you do whatever you can do, being the good guy, fight, helping the sheriff, doing whatever you can. You get back to your fucking farm and your kid and everything. Finally, at the end of the game, and all of a sudden you hear some gunshots and Uncle's dead. And you walk outside and all of a sudden they're out there. And you're like, get in the barn. You walk in the barn. And the end of the game is you opening up and like trying to use your Red Dead power and all of a sudden, and you just die. And playing Red Dead 2, knowing that's what happens to John no matter what, is fucking amazing. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But he tries. He tries to do the right thing at the end, and he's still like the sheriff, like you know, the law. They find him at the end at his own barn in front of his wife and his kid, and just gun him down. Put like 50 bullets in him.
All right. So as a DLC, would you rather have RD like a Red Dead Redemption 2 zombies campaign, or would you rather have like a complete remake and like as a modded DLC or whatever, added DLC?
I'd like them to put more into their fucking online shit than they do Grand Theft Auto.
I mean, what more online shit can you add to that? There's no cars. There's no
They've been
aircraft.
adding to fucking Grand Theft Auto for like fucking 10
Yeah,
years.
because it's the modern world. They could have cars and shit and vehicles.
Red Dead 2 was the best online game ever.
Is it?
Yes. Hands fucking down. I made so many friends from different parts of the world. Australia, England, around here.
No, what's fucked
Texas.
is you played on Xbox. I played on PS, PlayStation.
Xbox was great, dude. I ran into so many people from different parts of the world. It was so amazing playing every night.
Yeah.
I'm in some fucking posses. I don't give a shit. If I get on that shit and you try to fuck with me, I will call so many people.
Really?
Some of these people like are veterans in like real wars.
So what?
They will ruin your life.
So you just hit him up and be like, "Yo."
Yeah, this guy's fucking griefing me.
And they're like, "No, they ain't gonna grief my boy."
Yeah, no. You got like 16 people on you now, and they're gonna keep chasing you, and you're gonna delete your account probably.
Wow.
I got friends in high places, but
Red
no,
Dead.
I don't like. But we're nice. We help people. We just fuck up griefers. I love that. I love getting into a game like we're gonna fuck up the races here, and you can tell because they say things like
The N word.
yeah, like nigger and
Oh, come on. Yeah, the
No,
gamers
no.
do say that.
no, those are fucking Australians. Oh my god,
Yeah, the Australians are
like
pretty.
cunt's not the worst thing they say at all.
Yeah, the Australians are pretty bad.
They don't even know. They're like, "Oh, get this fucking black cunt off. Let's skip the fucking cutscene." And I'm like, "Cause look, there's one time there was like one cutscene where there was like a black sheriff explaining a mission, and he's like, "Oh, can you shut this black cunt off?" And I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck, dude?" like, oh, buddy.
Oh, jeez.
But you have to watch out. You have to watch out playing Red Dead. But it's fitting, and I actually wouldn't change it because the game's set in fucking 90 something. Those people, even though they're real racist people, being in the game makes it more realistic. You know?
Yeah.
Like, these people really wish they were in the KKK. And we have to, like, fight them now. And it, like, gives you, like, a sense of purpose. This isn't just a game now. We're fighting the Ku Klux Klan tonight, buddy.
Yeah, but GTA is also like that too, though. By the way, like they have gangs, like online gangs that are like racist as fuck. Like you could like add your own graphics onto your crew cars, and some of them have like swastikas and shit.
Oh, God.
It's a Buddhist symbol, bruh.
Fucking rockstar.
Pretty epic. Honestly, no one does it like Rockstar. Think about it. Holy shit, these pretzels and Dijon mustard. Absolutely addictive. I mean, seriously, like something about Dijon mustard. Do you like Dijon mustard? You're a cook, right? You're a chef.
I'm
A line cook?
I'm not a fucking chef. Yeah.
You're a line cook.
I like Dijon mustard. Yeah.
What do you like to do with Dijon mustard?
You know, just a normal thing. You know, like put it on a pretzel. You know.
Put it on my dick. Oh, so me and Brendan earlier we went to the pet store.
There's cats.
Yeah, PetSmart sells cats. Well, they don't sell the cats. They offer them up for adoption.
$200 for adoption. That's selling your cat. I'm sorry.
You read the thing
Yeah, of course I did.
to see their names.
Yeah. $200 is the adoption fee.
Yeah, I thought about it too, but I don't think it's like I care about my current cat too much. Like,
They're doing like I looked. They're doing so good in there. Don't take those cats unless you have a real nice house, because they're living it up. So unless you can offer that cat something better than PetSmart can, don't fucking do it, dude.
well, they were already
I don't
living.
give, you want to put your fucking that cat who's living. He gets fucking that cat gets wet food and dry food for every meal every day. It gets a choice of wet and dry at the same time. You can just eat the wet and then eat all the dry, whatever. Okay, I looked, and they probably get pretty decent human interaction. I'm guessing. It's my best guess. If I worked there, I'd be touching the cats all the time. I
Well,
touch
They probably
all
get
the cats.
they probably get more care than the dogs because the dogs don't actually stay there like
There's
the cats.
dogs?
No. The only dogs that would be there are like over a night or two, whereas the cats actually stay there for prolonged periods to get put up for adoption. Dogs are just like from private owners, and they would like leave them there at the little dog hotel. You know what I'm saying? Like the cats are actually there. The dogs are just not really there for the long haul. I'm just scared that the cats that don't get adopted and they get too old, like do they send them to get put to sleep?
No, they probably just keep them. I don't think it's not a kill shelter. No,
Wait, they just keep
there's
them?
plenty of kill shelters though. There's so many fucking cats. That's a problem. They're just like a lot of cats die every day. Everybody, listen. A lot of cats every day die. Like, and
Yeah, it's normal.
my family rescues. Don't adopt, maybe rescue, but like, other than that, there's not much you can do. There's so many cats born that just fucking die. Cute
Yeah.
little kitties just dying.
All right, my thing is like you don't have to like. All right, when you live in a city that's overrun by like stray cats, it's fine. They're just cats. The worst thing they'll do is be a nuisance. Whereas if you live in a city overrun by stray dogs, that's fucking terrifying. Like dogs will literally kill for fun. Wolves don't even do that. Wolves don't even kill you for fun. Dogs will kill you for fun.
They don't. I don't think they do that. It's self-defense.
Dogs?
Yeah.
I think any animal will kill for self-defense. But I think dogs are
I don't think dogs would just come up to you and try to hurt you. I think they, like most dogs, would try to like naturally befriend you.
Yeah, domesticated dog. I'm talking about like feral dogs.
Where are we getting these feral dogs from?
What do you mean?
Where are the feral dogs coming from?
Not in America. Like if we go to like a third world country, any city that can't afford to have a local shelter, like actively address stray or runaway dogs. Like all right, think about this. Have you ever walked around New York City at night and like come across a wild ass unleashed stray dog? Ever in your life? Like an alley dog, like a straight up
In
like
Staten Island.
really? Like a wild dog in Staten Island?
Oh yeah, I have scars.
No, like that dog had to belong to somebody though.
I've been mauled.
By whose dog?
I have there was always stray dogs. We
Who-
walk around
what?
all of a sudden, and they'd stop and go, "Aroo!" and then just start charging at you. It was horrifying.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Where?
in Midland Beach. in my neighborhood when I was
There
a
were
kid,
stray dogs in Midland.
just all the time. And like there was one time I was a paper boy, and I was this one guy. He wasn't on the route. He wasn't on my official route. But like every time if I had an extra paper, I gave it to him. He gave me $1. And one day he was like, "Yeah, I gave him the paper and gave me the dollar bill. I put it in my pocket. He was like, "Yeah, just come back here every day, kid." And all of a sudden, his fucking German Shepherd just went and just like knocked past him and ran out the front door and pinned me against the fence. And I'm like this, and he goes and he like completely like impales me with his like teeth a couple times, and like he has like he's so big. I'm a kid, and he's so fucking big. And all of a sudden, the guy like pulls him off. He's like, "Mama," and he brings him. I hear him beating the shit out. I feel bad. Like even though it hurt, like I felt bad for the dog too. Like because like they're like, "You motherfucker!" Like yeah, I heard it. Like I felt like them hitting it with something, and like I'm like beating the fuck out of this dog. And they came outside, and I'm like gushing blood. And I have the scar right here. You can see it. Do you have a close up? Like
No.
I can show you the scar.
I'll post a picture.
There's like sunken teeth, like scar. I can show you.
So wait, this wasn't a stray dog though. This dog belonged to somebody.
Yes, and they brought it and they walked out, and I'm like limping and like gushing like a little bit of blood, and I'm like holding my shit, and they're like throwing money at me. This guy, like some of it falls on the floor. Like he's like I'm so sorry, just go to the hospital. He's like throwing like 20s and 40s, like whatever the fucking money, like
40s.
50s, 20s and 50s and shit. I mean, I'm like picking some off the ground. I'm like, I feel kind of weird about it though. Like I'm kidding. I'm like my God, like and I wonder, I talked to my mom and shit, I guess, and like, I didn't want the dog to be put down. Like, that's what happens. If you say the dog bit in, like, they're gonna, like, we have to legally kill their dog now. I didn't want to be, like, I didn't want to have that on my conscience. So, like, I'm like, no, don't worry about it. And they kept coming by, like, the yard, and, like, every once in a while, like, just go fuck. Like, you're, like, trying to give me money. I'm like,
Wait, you fucked with them?
What?
You fucked with them?
No, like they kept like coming by like the yard and like talking like to me and my mom, but like every once in a while like trying to like give me like money, like cash. Like here's like 40, 50, 60. Like I'm just like oh okay, buddy, I'm not gonna rat your dog out, dude. You know, and then I didn't.
Good.
But like my parents were also like, the dog has a taste for blood now. It's probably gonna kill them.
Wow. Was it a good dog?
It's old people. What?
Was it a good dog?
It was a dog to me.
How big was it?
It was scary. This dog was like, it was like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Like, once you go over, it was a really horrifying experience. And this dog was so big and strong. Like, its paws just went, like, my arms are against the fence, and its paws were like, against my arms. Like, it was really bad.
It was like prison rape.
Yeah. It just pinned me against the fence and just sunk its teeth wherever it fucking wanted.
It's horrible.
Like that. I would have, like, if the dog was like, let me fuck your ass, I'd be like, yes, sir. You know, like, that's how dominant this dog was at that moment.
Was this dog a pit bull?
This is a German Shepherd.
Oh, shit.
Big boy. Bigger than me.
Probably beautiful.
And dangerous.
Well, that,
dogs can be scary.
with that, well,
You should, like, I don't care how much you love dogs, I love them. Have a healthy fear of them. Because if there's a dog who doesn't like you, like, you could be a good fighter. You could be tough. Have fun fighting a dog that hates you. Like, no, man. It's not the same kind of fight. You don't know where to dodge or block. It's just an animal ripping you apart. They win. They're
What?
going to win. You're not that tough.
It's like a land shark.
It's a fucking dog who's like, I'm fucking dead set on this guy's gonna fucking die. You know, like, don't fuck with the dog.
What if it was like a smaller dog that was
You
like
need to know what dogs you can fuck with. There's been dogs who were like, don't fuck with that dog, and I was like drunk or some shit, and I'm like, hey buddy, and I'm here, I grab him, the dog's like, what the fuck is going on? And he feels like the dominant, I'm being enough, like being silly. He's like, okay, wait, what's going on? Do I want to kill this guy? What the fuck's going on? Like, he's being cool to me. But, like, you need to be real competent to do shit like that. But if a dog doesn't like you, it's gonna try to kill you.
I never met a dog that that hated me. I mean, probably met dogs that didn't like me, but I never
had
met a dog
I had a female friend who didn't had a dog who was didn't like white people.
that's fucking hilarious.
It was violent. It was bad. It was scary. I actually like almost had like a personal like resentment against this dog.
Because it was racist against you.
Yeah. Like, I wanted to fight it.
Yeah, it's really easy to make a dog
Like,
racist.
you would want to fight a person who you hated. But it was a dog. And I'm like, this is not the same kind of, like there's no principle behind this dog's fighting. Except, like, he has some bad experience with some white dude at some point in his fucking life. And, I'm taking it personally as a human being, and I want to fist fight a dog. You know, that's not healthy. It's not a good way of living life.
This dog called me a cracker.
I just had deja vu. Is that fucking weird?
This dog called me a
Holy
cracker.
shit.
Anyway,
Whoa, shit. That's part of the deja vu. Don't call me a what?
this dog called me a cracker.
That's part of the deja vu. Ever have that? The lingering one?
Jesus Christ. Anyway, with that, we leave you in peace, love, and gratitude. Good night, everybody.
Deja vu.
Deja vu.
Deja vu.
Glitch in the Matrix.